listeners are as important as our guests. Join in on the conversation. 504-341-8255. The New Orleans Talk Network.
I'm Sheriff Joe Lapinto, and you are watching the New Orleans Talk Network.
Yo, man, it's Fred. Listen, don't forget to like and subscribe to our New Orleans Talk Network page on. Keep going. What's up, everybody? This is your boy Fred. Listen, don't forget to like our page on YouTube, FanView, Facebook, FanView, and on Twitter, FanView New Orleans.
Holla at you, man, in the app with us, and we gonna make this thing on the pop and New Orleans Talk Network. Real fans talk about real sports. Get it, G. And not only sports, it's through everyday activity and life, man.
My name is Jaquan Jackson, SMU commit, and you're tuning into FanView.
Yo, what's up? It's Poogle Williams, 2017 Mr. Football. You are now tuned into FanView Live on New Orleans Talk Network.
This is Congressman Cedric Richmond, and you're watching the New Orleans Talk Network.
FanView Live, where real fans talk about real sports, only on the New Orleans Talk Network. Like us on Facebook, subscribe to us on YouTube, because we're not just a sports talk show, we're a talk show about sports.
Hi, I'm
Saints final roster. Let Saints talk. Also feel like where we at, as far as we ranked that in the NFC, what do you think the Saints would be ranked at? Le'Veon Bell is a big topic. Whoa, what's up, everybody? We be sitting here having some conversation with our y'all. We didn't want to do all that. Welcome to FanView, Real Fans Talk Sports. It's your boy, Fred.
GSportz in the building, man. Let's get it.
Let's get it. Listen, we got a lot to talk about. Y'all been going around the week of sports since Saturday. Since Saturday, G, it's been going down. Sports like crazy. College football. You had the Saints with some of the NFL preseason over with. A lot of the final cuts. Some guys haven't got paid yet. Lot to talk about in the world of sports. Y'all know what I have to do before I get ready to start this show. I always give a shout and salute to the armed forces and military, the Army, Navy, Marines, Air Force, first responders, local police department, local fire department. Thank you guys from the bottom of our hearts. If no one gives y'all appreciation, support, and love, FanView Live will do it for you each and every Thursday. Thank you guys so much from the bottom of our hearts. Thank you. Big shout out and salute to y'all. But man, listen, we got a lot to discuss. For people who are tuning in for the show for the first time, y'all know what we like to do. We talk about sports. This is our time with us fans where we sit down and talk what's been going on in the past week around the nation in the world of football, basketball, baseball. It don't really matter what it is. We're going to sit down and we're going to talk about it. But tonight we got a lot of football to discuss. There's a lot of football going on that we need to discuss. We're going to open up this show here, discussing Saints football, some of the final rosters, some breakdown, talk about the Saints for the NFC. Again, if y'all want to tune into us live, you can tune us on Facebook on FanView Live. You can tune into us also on Instagram, FanView Live. If you're on Twitter, FanView NOLA. Don't forget to follow GSportz. Man, if you're trying to get any updates on high school football, basketball, you name it.
Yes, sir.
There's something called in life called a plug. It's the plug. The plug right here. So listen, y'all follow man GSportz on Facebook, Twitter, going crazy all the time. All the time it's going crazy. Be going down on Twitter. But listen, we'll get into the Saints right quick. Saints final roster. People who tuned into the last preseason game. It was a showing for the Saints. The Saints showed out big time in their last preseason game. But some people don't know the Saints are now down to the final cuts. They got their first opening game on Sunday against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The NFL season starts tonight against. We got the Falcons versus the Eagles.
Yeah, Falcons versus the Eagles.
Falcons versus the Eagles tonight. No Carson Wentz. So if you got Carson Wentz in your fantasy football league, don't start him. Don't do it. Alshon Jeffrey ain't playing tonight. Don't start him. He's out. That's just the word of wise. If you got a fantasy football league, I'm just trying to give you some answers. But I'm going to go over the final roster for everybody. And let's talk about the final roster for the Saints. Obviously, we know Drew Brees at quarterback is there. Teddy Bridgewater, Taysom Hill. Then we got Alvin Kamara. Then we have a recent addition, Mark Gillespie, and obviously Mark Ingram makes the team also. Then we got Boston Scott. At receiver,
Boston Scott got cut.
Boston Scott got cut?
Yeah, he made it.
He made it.
And then Sean Payton released him.
Released him?
I think that's going to be somebody they're going to end up probably putting on the practice squad, I think. And that's somebody that, I mean, if an injury happens, you're going to see him rejoin the team.
Yeah, you see that possibly happen. They also kept the fullback, Zach Lane. Obviously, as receiver, we got Mike Thomas, Cam Meredith, Austin Carr, Ted Ginn, Tommy Lee Lewis, and Traquan Smith. So they end up keeping 6 receivers. At tight end, you got Ben Watson, Josh Hill, and Dan Arnold, which I thought was a big surprise in the last season preseason game. You saw he has the physicality of a tight end, but you looking at him and say, man, if this guy can get, some reps in the system, this guy can start making some plays. On the offensive line, you got Teron Armstead, Javon Bushrod, Andres Pete, Will Clapp, Max Unger, Cameron Tom, Larry Wolford, Ryan Ramchak, and Michael Ola, which they end up cutting their draft pick in Rick Leonard, who was the draft pick of this team, Florida State. They end up cutting him. Obviously, we know a kicker and punter. We got Will Lutz and Thomas Morstead. Not much to talk about there. But on the defensive line, Cam, Marcus Davenport, Alex Okafor, Trey Hendrickson, and Mitchell Laurent. I think they pronounce it Laurent. That's his name. Then we got Sheldon Rankins, Tyler Davison, David Adamada, and Tyler Stallworth, which was a surprise, to me, who made this roster. Linebackers, Manti Te'o, Craig Roberson, Demario Davis, Alex Azalone, A.J. Klein.
A lot of depth.
A lot of depth there. Nate Stupar came as a surprise to me after the last game.
Good special team.
Good special team guy. Had a great the last game. Nate Stupar made some plays. And then the secondary, we got Lattimore, Ken Crawley, Patrick Robinson, P.J. Williams, Arthur Moulette, Marcus Williams. Then you have Chris Banjo, obviously Kurt Coleman, Von Bell, and Jonathan Gray. End up cutting, Kareem Moore, the draft pick. He ended up cutting Boston College. And you had Natrell Jamison out of Wisconsin.
Which I thought he had a good shot to make this team, but I mean, we so loaded in the defensive backfield. I mean, somebody had to go.
Somebody had to go.
And I thought P.J. Williams was going to be the man out, especially like with the injury bug that's been hitting him over the preseason. But I guess Sean Payton felt that P.J. Williams gave his team a better shot to win games, and he thought Natrell Jamison was a good player, and he noted that during the press conference. But I guess he wanted to go with the veteran P.J. Williams. And I mean, and as of right now, we know P.J. Williams is a better player than Natrell Jamison.
Right.
And that just go to show you, bro. Sean Payton is not about looking down the road. He's about trying to win right now.
Win now.
And that's the reason why I think you see him cut people like Natrell Jamison, Rick Leonard from Florida State, and Kareem Moore from Boston College. I mean, that's 3 draft picks that he just took off the roster.
Which we didn't have, this team hasn't had since, when you look at, since Jeff Island been in that assistant GM spot. You see a lot of these draft picks make the team and contribute somewhere. So I found it very surprising. They said, man, we drafted 3 players since Jeff Island's been here now, and they didn't make the roster. That came off very surprising to me. I thought Natrell Jamison probably could have made this team. I think he did a very good job in the preseason. And not granted, he didn't do nothing spectacular, but I thought, from athleticism, like this guy could have made the team. I think he could have made the team over Jonathan Gray, number 48. I think he could have, this, but they had Natrell Jamison a lot at corner, a lot at safety. They kind of moved him around a lot.
He was in a special team.
Game. Right. I thought he could have made this team. The surprising guy who made the final roster to me, honestly, I'll be honest with most people, is Tommy Lee Lewis. Not that he's a bad football player by me. I think he's a very special athlete within himself. But to me, I thought he had to make this team from a special teams position. I thought he had to make some plays in the return game because of the athleticism he had, but I just didn't see it. Now, you saw maybe a play down the field where he stretched the football field and maybe throw a deep ball. But outside of that, not a very good blocker, not a very good intermediate route runner, not really so much outside of maybe stretching the football field. And I didn't see enough of him that he could contribute to the team outside of that one dynamic. So that came off as a surprise to me of him making the team. Not to say that what was behind him was great.
Right.
But I didn't really see how, if he couldn't be one of your best return guys on this team, that I didn't really see how he makes this team. I would have rather it sounds crazy, but I'd have still kept a Brandon Tate because I know he's familiar with special teams on the team, than have a guy that is not going to play much receiver unless an injury happens to Traquan Smith or Ted Ginn, or for that matter, we know Mr. Magnificent Mike Thomas, or even Cam Merrill for that matter. You know he's not going to get receiver reps over at least those 4 guys. So, and I'm like, man, for him to be the 5th receiving team and not make it from a special team position, I found it surprising.
I thought Jerome Elliott was the surprise cut here. I really thought Sean Payton should have kept this guy on the roster. I mean, this guy plays phenomenal all throughout the preseason, man.
Phenomenal.
Being able to blister and get to the passer and subpar blitz packages that Dennis Allen was putting together.
Yes.
I just thought that he was a guy that was going to be able to contribute this year. And then in the special teams game, I thought he was going to be
he's around the football
for us, man. So by us letting him go, you kept Stupar over him. I just thought that was very quick.
Even when you look at the Nate Stupar fumble, he was the one who recovered it. He always seemed to be finding a way to be around the football.
Right.
That was Jay Elliott. And in the first preseason game, I think he had like 2.5 sacks. And they had their first preseason game. And so you start to look at the situation, man, why this guy's now on this team, you don't know. But, man, I was liking the way he was contributing, to this team. And to me, I think I would have kept him over. When I look at roster spots, I'm looking at myself, man, if I could keep another linebacker DN, maybe I take a position away from the secondary. To me, I didn't see much from J.T. Gray. I didn't see much from him. So I'm saying to myself, man, maybe I lose one more secondary guy to keep this guy on my team. And maybe, I don't know how old he was, but maybe he can be on my practice squad and somebody I can call up if necessary. But I thought Jay Elliott made a case for that team. I just did.
And I don't know if they haven't announced if he's going to be on a practice squad or what.
They haven't made that announcement. I don't know.
But that is a kid that you have to keep him around.
Right.
I mean, even if he's on a practice squad, because linebackers get hurt all the time. I mean, this is the NFL. Everybody knows that stands for not for long. So you got to have him somewhere around on a practice squad in case somebody go down to be able to pull him up from the practice squad.
Correct.
And maybe next year he might have a good chance to make this 53-man roster. I really like Elliott, and I think that the kid has a bright future, even if it's not with the Saints going forward.
I agree with you on that one. Now, the guy who was making the case for himself early in the preseason was Jonathan Williams, who ended up getting cut. He had that first preseason game, like, man, he started, getting more snaps than Boston Scott, started, moving his way up that depth chart. But it seemed like as the last 2 games came around, he wasn't finding no holes right. He just wasn't making enough yards that he needed to make, and he kind of just took the backside. When you was looking at, Mark Ingram going to be spending 4 games, but after that first game, he said, okay, Jonathan Williams could be that guy. But he just consistently proved in the last 2 games that they had that, man, was he really going to be the guy? Got cut, bring in the guy, Michael Gillis, from out of New England.
Right.
And again, I think he's only going to be around for 4 games. After that, when Mark comes back, depending on how those 4 games are.
Because we kept Shane Vereen, too,
Yeah, they kept Shane Vereen.
Kept Shane Vereen. I know this guy is a veteran, and I know, he catches the ball out of the backfield really, really good.
He can go.
But I would have kept Boston Scott. I felt like Boston Scott was more explosive and more of a home run threat than Shane Vereen.
Shane Vereen could go.
So, and Shane Vereen really didn't show me anything.
He didn't show me nothing
like that. I mean,
he didn't show me nothing. He could go.
I thought Boston Scott should have made this final 53 over Shane Vereen.
I think Shane Vereen can go. And it's not a disrespect to Shane. I don't think he's a bad football player. I just think that he didn't do anything significant as a veteran to say, okay, why would I keep him over the guy who I drafted out of Boston? I know Boston Scott going to be somebody who will be in a return game for me and play special teams. Shane Vereen ain't about to do that.
Right.
Shane Vereen ain't about to be, he's not a very good kickoff returner. And I don't know if he's a guy out there that's very good at blocking on special teams. I'd have got rid of him. And that's just, I know he's a veteran back, but to me, he didn't show what his value was outside of special teams.
Right.
I just would have got rid of them all together. But overall, I think the roster is a very good roster. Man, I'll tell you one thing. I hope Teron Armstead don't get hurt. I seen Jerron Bushrod get beat. I saw Jerron Bushrod get beat on some plays. I hope Teron Armstead, I'm not saying he got to play a 16-game season, but goddamn, can you play 12? Can you give me 13? I don't want to see Jerron Bushrod out there. Not that he's a bad football player. Former Saint, we drafted him in here. But I just think that his time as tackle has come to a close. I don't want to see it. I don't want to see him out there playing tackle by any means.
We look like we're going to be all right at offensive line. Look like everybody except the play except Andrews Pete. Andrews Pete is questionable with a quad injury. But other than that, Teron Armstead is healthy. They say this is the healthiest he's been since his rookie year.
Right.
So I feel real good about Teron Armstead being able to be durable this season and make our offensive line probably a top 3, top 4 offensive line in the NFL. That's how good I feel about our offensive line. I mean, I really don't see any holes anywhere on the offensive line.
So what would you grade the roster? If anybody tuning in the stream, what would you grade the roster? You give them an A, B+, what's your grade?
Right now, I would have to go with a B+.
B+?
Like I say, man, I've been saying this since the beginning of the training camp. The only holes that we had 2 holes that we needed to fill. Yeah. We after the trade with Teddy Bridgewater, I feel like we covered that hole. Tight end was the only position that I was like, man, I'm not sold on Ben Watson. I'm not sold on Josh Hill. Do I think those guys could come in and contribute? Yeah, they can. But I just think that the tight end position is where our weak link was.
Yeah.
And our backup quarterback. Because we all know Drew Brees is one hit away from getting hurt.
Correct.
And our season going down the drain.
Down the drain.
We all know what happened to the coach that year when Peyton Manning went down.
Yeah.
People won 2 games. And,
Facts.
Good as our roster is. If we would have had Tom Savage leading the way, or Taysom Hill leading the way, if Drew Brees got hurt, I would not feel good about it.
No.
I would think that we probably are going to win about 5 or 6 games maybe. But when you got somebody like Teddy Bridgewater, who's been, like he said in his press conference, he's been studying the Saints offense since his rookie year. And even going back to when he was at Louisville. So this guy is familiar with our offense. And he's going to get up to speed. Drew Brees going to get him up to speed. Sean Payton going to get him up to speed. He's going to be ready in case something happens. So I think that we're solidified at that position. And not only that, we solidified going forward in the future. By Sean Payton making this trade, giving up a 3rd-round pick, guess what? We know this draft coming up is going to be very weak. With Will Grill from West Virginia and Stetman from Auburn. That's going to be the cream of the crop. That's not saying too much.
No.
Okay, so
you seen Malik Rozier?
Sean Payton realizes that. Look, let's go ahead and make a deal now and get somebody in place. Because let's be real, Sean Payton know Drew Brees probably got a year, maybe 2 years left in him. And you got somebody like Teddy Bridgewater coming behind him, who I'm very high on. Sean Payton was high on him coming out of college. And who knows? If we win a Super Bowl this year, Drew might call the quiz after this year. He might want to walk off into the sunset.
We 1,000% agree on that one. If the Saints want to contend for a Super Bowl this year, that's a fact. I think Drew Brees calls us because there's nothing else to play for. There's no more function. There's no more. Maybe I could. There's nothing else to do. Because that would edify that guy's legacy as a quarterback and as a player in this game. You talking about now if Drew Brees could win a second Super Bowl? We talking about Drew Brees being arguably one of the top 2, 3 quarterbacks to ever play this game. I think that's the only thing that takes away from his credibility in overall national ranking. When we talk about ranking quarterbacks, the fact that he doesn't have a regular season MVP, and he only has 1 Super Bowl because he's only played in 1. But if Drew Brees even if he doesn't have a regular season MVP, if the team can get to another Super Bowl and win it, man, you talking about this guy being arguably, he will be statistically the most accomplished, having the most yards, the most touchdowns, all those things. But now he has 2 championships to support it. Now you're talking about this guy being one of the best to play the game. Obviously, Tom Brady being the most accomplished with 5 Super Bowls. But other than that, you start to say, man, who's next in that list? Man, Drew Brees.
And like I said, bro, you give the Saints these 2 things since Drew Brees been at the helm and Sean Payton. You give them these 2 things, we going to have a good shot to hold that Lombardi trophy at the end. A solid offensive line and a top 10 defense. If you give us a top 10 defense and a nice offensive line, man, we got
sky's the limit. Sky's the limit.
The whole
sky's all the limit.
So, and we have that this year. That's why I'm big on it. The only thing I don't like, I just seen a lot of analysts picking the Saints to go to the Super Bowl.
Don't like that.
I don't like that. Shannon Sharp said he got the Saints in the Chargers in the Super Bowl. He got the Saints winning. Then I forgot who the other analyst was. I don't know if it was Chris Carter or Nick Wright. I think he had the Saints and the Patriots. And I just don't like everybody
attention
picking it because I remember the year when we signed Jarvis Bird. And everybody thought that was the missing piece to the defense and all of this. And we signed some other people that year. I can't remember. Everybody picked the Saints to win the Super Bowl that year. And we was abysmal. So I'm hoping that, everybody trying to pick us and jump on our bandwagon. Look, man, Stay off my bandwagon. You know what I'm saying? Say the Falcons or somebody. Say the Eagles. I don't know. Somebody.
I feel you. Now,
You know?
now Derek Ross is, he mentioned Eagles. Obviously, the Eagles play tonight. And Kevin Lister said he would do what Manning did after his second shift, which I think he would retire. I would agree with that.
And it's going. I'm telling you, it's going to be set up because Teddy Bridgewater is going to be a free agent after this year.
Yeah.
And even if Drew does come back, you know he's not going to play too much longer.
Too much longer.
You know what I'm saying? I really don't see Drew Brees playing over this year and next year. I really don't see. His kids are getting older and things like that.
Start to matter. Being a father, being active in certain things in certain times start to matter. That's just facts.
And I think that Mickey Loomis and Sean Payton, they wouldn't have made this trade happen if they didn't think that.
They had a conversation.
They had a conversation with Teddy Bridgewater. Teddy Bridgewater been saying all the right things. This guy's the ultimate professional. He's already came out and said he doesn't have a problem sitting behind Drew Brees. And what we got to do, we got to make sure we do. When he becomes a free agent after this year, we got to make sure we lock him up.
Handle business.
Look, give him $25 million guaranteed.
Handle business.
Sign him to a $40 million contract. Make sure we keep him locked up so when Drew Brees does decide to ride off into the sunset,
you got a guy.
We got somebody in place. I'm telling y'all, some people, I've been saying half of the people that's excited about the Teddy Bridgewater trade. I have people saying Teddy Bridgewater ain't did nothing, yada, yada, yada. Let me tell y'all something. Teddy Bridgewater is a hell of a quarterback. And the way he looked in the preseason, he looks like he doesn't have no ill effects from the injury. This guy looks like he's going to be big time. And anytime you can learn behind a Hall of Fame quarterback, a top 3, top 4 quarterback all time. And Drew Brees, who has a completion percentage of 66% for his career, which is unheard of, won a Super Bowl champion, and you get to learn behind somebody like Sean Payton, an offensive guru. Man, I like your chances.
I like your chances, bro.
I like our chances with Teddy Bridgewater going forward. And with them young players on our team, Michael Thomas, Traquan Smith, the receiver you just got from Central Florida, Kamara, that young defense with Marshawn Lattimore, Marcus Williams. Man,
Mr. Durability.
Marcus Davenport. Come on, man. The future's looking real promising.
Don't get Anzalone. I said, don't get Anzalone and DeMario Davis out of
Crawley. I mean, PJ1. Man, we got a lot of people that's under the age of 30. The Saints' future is looking very, very promising.
Now, I would say this, to kind of shift gears a little bit. For everybody's tuning in, if you're a Saints fan out there, what do you think from the NFC, what do you think the Saints are going to be ranked this year? You think they're number one? Do you think they're the number 1 team going in the NFC? Do you think there's the number 2 team? Do you think they're the number 3 team? Where would you have the Saints going in right now in the NFC? Like, what is your rank? What would you put them at?
Like I say, man, I got aspirations of the Saints going to the Super Bowl this year and holding that Lombardi trophy. I think the Saints are the number 1 team in the NFC. No, I'm not being biased. I'm not. And I think the Falcons and the Eagles are right there on us.
I think Derek Ross would probably say something about that.
They right up on us. They right up on us, man. They right up on us. I'm telling you. So when you just break down the Saints from top to bottom, when you go from quarterback to running back to offensive line to receivers to defensive line, linebackers, defensive backs, and then coaching, we just set up better than
most teams.
Then all the teams in the NFC.
All of them?
All of them.
I got one ahead of us.
Who you got?
I got the Vikings. And that's only because of now look at defensively what they can do. Defensive line, probably one of the best arguably in the NFL. Linebacking core, I just love it. Anthony Barr and what some of those other guys can do. Secondary-wise, Harrison Smith, Xavier Rhodes. I'm not a big fan of Trey Wade. But now start to look at the team defensively. I know they're going to get pressure. They're going to be one of the top 3 defensive teams in all of football. The question mark is at quarterback, obviously, because Kirk Cousins is new to this whole situation. But I know Mike Zimmer has done a phenomenal job since he's been there. Dalvin Cook is coming back. 2 very good outside receivers, and Thielen, who's a very good guy, could get receptions, and Stephon Diggs, who can make big-time plays. And Stephon Diggs, got a contract.
You got Rudolph at tight end.
You got Rudolph at tight end. So the only team I have in front of them is the Minnesota Vikings because I know what they can do defensively and the talent they have on offensively. Now, if Kirk Cousins is the only question mark there. If he can still be a 4,500-yard, quarterback and get you 25-plus touchdowns, then I say, okay, the Minnesota Vikings going to be there at the thick of things.
Right.
I think that the Philadelphia Eagles, to me, is going to drop off
You heard it here first. Yes. Why? Because I just got a report saying Carson Wentz is going to be out for several weeks. Now, here's my thing about it.
But
Nick Foles is a decent quarterback. But that was toward the end of the season. We starting the season now. Now, defensively, the Philadelphia Eagles are going to be there. You know, hey, look, you look at the defensive line, you look at the linebacker core. Defensively, they're going to have all the things. But the question is now, you got Mike Wallace, who's not, just got there. Alshon Jeffrey is not playing right now. He's going to be out for a couple of weeks. So I'm asking myself, is it the same team that started the season last year for the Philadelphia offensively? No. Do I think Nick Foles could go out here and throw 33 touchdowns? God forbid how long Carson Wentz going to be out? No. So I have the Philadelphia Eagles third on my list.
I'm going to read these comments before I give you my rebuttal. Kevin Lister says, on paper, they're a strong number 2. I'm thinking he's talking about the Saints. Derek Ross comes back and said, that sounds biased. I'm not being biased, J. Ross. I'm not being J. Ross. I'm not. I'm just telling you, top to bottom, the Saints are the best team in the NFC. Scoot St. Clair in the NFC, in all honesty, I got a number 2 because you still got to give the Eagles their respect as champs until the show otherwise. And then D. Ross come back and said, until they crown another champion, I'm still the team to beat. Quinn Young said, watch out for Delvin Cook. And that is true. Here's the thing. Doug Peterson is the next coming to Sean Payton. That's what it is. It's Sean Payton, Doug Peterson, Scott McVay.
Yeah.
Sean McVay with the Rams. Those guys are the next ones up for as offensive minds in the NFL. Doug Peterson made Nick Foles.
What about Kyle Shanahan?
Kyle Shanahan's up there too.
Okay.
But he just don't have the personnel yet over there in San Francisco.
Agreed.
But he got his quarterback. He got a way. I think the 49ers are a year or two away to being able to be talked about like that.
Gotcha.
But Doug Peterson is a mastermind. What he did with that Eagles offense last year when Carson Wentz got hurt, because I'm going to tell you, I was one of those people that was saying the Eagles got a shot in hell.
We said it. We got a shot in hell.
To get to the Super Bowl without Carson Wentz. Man, did he prove us wrong. He made Nick Foles look like a top 5 quarterback in the league last year.
Okay.
Nick Foles looked terrible with the Rams.
Mm-hmm.
And when he was with the Eagles the first go-around, when he was with Chip Kelly, he looked like a solid quarterback. He didn't look bad, but he didn't look good. And Doug Peterson office running them RPOs and things of that nature, he did a lot of things to fit Nick Foles' skill set. And Doug Peterson did a great job of being able to dissect defenses and put Nick Foles in a position to win and be successful. Mm-hmm. And that's the thing that's being forgotten about. Because I don't think too many teams could have did what the Eagles did last year. Your starting quarterback go down, and you put somebody who we all thought was just an average quarterback in the NFL.
I thought he'd mediocrity.
And win the Super Bowl the way they did. So that leads them to believe the Eagles are still up there as one of the top teams in the NFC, and they're right behind the Saints. And the only reason I put them behind the Saints is because I think that just top to bottom, they're not better than us. Like when I say that, I'm talking about the backfield. Like I say, I think running backs, we have the edge on the Eagles. We just have the edge. Quarterback, even when Carson Wentz comes back,
the edge is Drew Brees.
And we know Carson Wentz is big time. This guy has a chance to be one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL for years to come. Mm-hmm. But you know Drew Brees wins that.
Right.
Okay, offensive line, tomato. Because the Eagles have a damn good offensive line.
Yeah, you got Peters
coming back.
And Lane Johnson and the Kelsey in the center. Yeah, Jason Kelsey.
Very athletic offensive line. So that's argument right there. The receiving core, I gotta go with the Saints. I gotta go with the Saints. Top to bottom, I gotta go with the Saints.
Right.
On the defensive side of the ball, I think our D-line and their D-line is about what and what. You know, Brandon Graham and
Fletcher
Cox, those guys are a problem. Now, they lost Vinny Curry, but then they replaced him with Barnett, the first-round pick from last year in Tennessee. So they loaded on the defensive line. But I still think, as a whole, I think the Saints' defensive line is what and what with the Eagles. But I'm going to just go out for the sake of me and say the Eagles got the edge on that.
Okay.
Linebackers, I got to give it to the Saints. Dog, let me tell you something.
You sold on Tail?
Let me tell you something. Let me tell y'all something. I'm about to make a big-time statement. The Saints, do not take what I'm about to say out of context. Do not misconstrue what I'm about to say. The Saints will have, arguably, the most athletic linebacker core in the NFL this year. I'm telling you, with Anzalone, DeMario Davis, and Craig Robinson, Watch how athletic we look at linebacker. Watch how these guys gonna be able to run sideline to sideline. They're gonna be phenomenal this year. I'm telling you. And then we got somebody like Mike Nolan, the linebacker guru coach, coaching them. You saw how much better our linebackers looked once we got Mike Nolan.
Mike Nolan is a guru at the linebacker position.
He is a hell of a linebacker coach, and he has them guys playing fast, pursuit to the ball, and these guys gonna be able to be. They're gonna be big time this year. So
better than the Vikings.
Yes.
Better than Jacksonville linebacking core.
I say, listen. I didn't say the best. I say most athletic.
Most athletic.
Most athletic.
Not Jackson.
So I think, but I'm getting away from my point. What? I think the Saints linebacker core is better than the Eagles linebacker core.
Right.
Secondary, as a whole, I got to give it to the Saints. I got to give it. Well, Marshawn Lattimore, Marcus Williams, Crawley. We got Patrick Robinson back from those guys who gonna play that nickel spot. That's what he thrive at. We tried to put him at the outside when he played the first time. It didn't work. The Eagles gave us the blueprint.
Looking like a cancer out there.
Hey, I appreciate that, Doug Peterson. I appreciate that. Y'all gave us the blueprint, what we should use him, and that's at the nickel. And he gonna thrive in that. Then you got P.J. Williams,
right?
And people like that. And I just think then when you come to the coaching, even though I say Doug Peterson's the next coming to Sean Payton, I think he's a great.
They say
coach.
you leaving out A.J. Klein, man. You leaving out A.J. Klein.
Klein, we're a good serviceable guy. Even though I think Doug Peterson's the next coming to Sean Payton, and he's a phenomenal offensive mind. I can't give him the edge over Sean Payton. I just can't. So I think we win that battle. So I just think that, and then with all the stuff that how we lost last year, with the miracle that happened in Minnesota and all that kind of stuff like that, I just think that the Saints are the #1 team
in the
NFC.
So that's what we call it now. We call it the miracle.
The miracle.
We call it the miracle.
The miracle. That's why I got the Saints #1, and I got and look, the Eagles right there now. I ain't like I just think it's a big gap. It's about this.
I got the Eagles third. I got Minnesota. I got Minnesota #1.
I can't put man. You listen. First of all, you already know when you got a new quarterback coming into a new system like Kirk Cousins. It's gonna be some changes. He got to learn and receive. It's a lot has to go on.
Yeah,
he gonna have to rely on that defense heavily. Nah, do I think Kirk Cousins?
It's a great defense now.
It is. Do I think Kirk Cousins gonna have a bad season? No. But I don't think he's gonna look like a top tier quarterback this year. That's just my personal opinion.
Kirk Cousins is a second tier, borderline third tier quarterback. He's a third tier, pushing second tier.
I give him second tier.
Second tier.
I give him second
tier quarterback.
But I just think when you come into a new system, you just don't look how you was looking. And then on top of that, who's the offensive coordinator? North Turner? Who's the offensive coordinator?
No, North Turner is actually in Carolina.
Yeah, right.
And the former offensive coordinator,
I forgot who the offensive coordinator in Minnesota.
I forgot who the offensive coordinator now.
But we know Zimmer is a defensive
line coach.
So that's gonna be interesting to see how that's gonna pan. When Kirk Cousins was in Washington, he had Jay
Gruden.
He had Jay Gruden. You know what I'm saying? So now you're in Minnesota. I just don't know how that's gonna work. So I just can't put them #1.
When I look at the Philadelphia Eagles, and I say offensively, to me, when they started the season last year, there was a juggernaut offensively. I think, Carson Wentz came out there, he was averaging 3 to 4 touchdowns a game. You talking about a guy who had 33 passing touchdowns by week 12. So I don't see Nick Foles as the same guy offensively. Now you go into the season not having Alshon Jeffrey. Now, granted, it won them the Super Bowl, but when we talk about starting the season,
Alshon Jeffrey, Calvin Johnson.
He better than Mike Wallace on that team.
Mike Wallace gonna stress the defense for Mike Wallace gonna open up a lot of things for them people.
Right, but he's a better fit for that team than Mike Wallace is. And then you lose Trey Burton.
There's no way in the world. You still got Zach Ertz at tight end.
They got Zach Ertz.
Zach Ertz is the starter.
Right. But
Trey Burton came in when Zach Ertz was hurt.
But Trey Burton got a few touchdowns in there. Down in Chicago now.
There's no way in the world you can make me believe that the Vikings are set up better than the Eagles this year.
They're set up better.
As a matter of fact, even though the Vikings defense is dominant, I'm taking the Eagles defense over the Vikings defense.
They lost Vinny Curry.
Man, Vinny Curry was a one-trick pony.
He got sacks.
He one-trick pony.
Got sacks.
He got sacks because he had to worry about that beast Fletcher Cox and that beast Brandon Graham. That's why. That's why.
Sacks.
And they run a phenomenal defensive scheme over there in Philly.
And you lost Kendricks, obviously out here inside trading and everything, and lose a few players. When you win a championship, you had a cap constraint and you lose a few players. I'm not saying that Torrey Smith made a big difference for them offensively, but he ain't there either.
Don't even bring Torrey Smith up to this. Come on now. He's a poor man's Devin Henderson. D. Ross say, I'm going to start with Timothy Kimball. Timothy Kimball says, the Saints are loaded. Agreed.
D.
Ross said that's why they play the game in between the lines. I respect you, G. Appreciate you, D. Ross. Kincaid says Davis is going to be a beast. I keep telling y'all about the Mario Davis at the linebacker spot. That's our next Jonathan Vilma.
Facts.
I'm telling you. Look, I like how Manti Te'o came in last year and was solid for us, and I love what he did for us last year. He makes some big plays.
But he ain't Demario Davis.
Demario Davis
is a beast.
Is athletic.
It's a beast.
And this kid will be phenomenal this year for us. I'm telling
y'all,
y'all, Demario Davis is going to have about 130 tackles.
Oh, yeah, it's a beast.
Flat out beast. I mean, he's just going to make so many plays for us this year, it ain't going to be
He was going to be what Curtis Lofton was supposed to be.
And, you know, people just didn't know about him because the Jets were so sad. And he never came on TV. That's why nobody never knew about Demario Davis. But you're going to hear about him this year. I'm telling y'all now. Quinn Young said it's all going to come down to injuries with us as long as we stay healthy. But Quinn Young is like I've been saying for the last 2-3 weeks last month since training camp started. The reason why I think the Saints will have a great chance to get to the Super Bowl and hold that Lombardi trophy, I'm going to keep speaking into existence, is because we have so much depth. And you already know in the NFL, injuries can knock you out like that.
Right.
We have a lot of depth. We have a lot of depth at every position.
Right.
The only position, like I say, that we are weak at is tight end. Offensive line, I like where we at. I like the depth that we got at offensive line. I like the depth that we got at running back, linebacker, defensive backs, receivers. We deep, man.
We deep.
So if somebody go down, next man up. So I think we gonna be good in that area. Quinn Young said he don't care for Crawley. Man, look, I like Crawley. Crawley's a very solid corner. The Saints secondary is straight gangster. Who that ship man says that.
Yeah.
And now we got P. Rob back. Good things that happen.
Right. Lionel Scott said Minnesota quarterback got something to prove. So talking about Kirk Cousins. He won't see.
Real who that ship man said y'all hilarious. Jerome Wilson just finished filming my Netflix segment. Now it's time for some FanView. I see you, Jerome. That's one of our faithful followers, man.
Right.
Appreciate Jerome, man. You always show love, bro. Lionel Scott. All right. Then he said, I don't like Minnesota. I respect Delvin Cook. What you went to Florida State? You must be a Florida State fan or something. That's going to be a difference. I don't want to have to rely on a passing game. And then Ryan Shipman came back and said, yeah, but Wentz was out in 15. If I'm not mistaken. His knee got shredded. He ain't going to be elite this year. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it was week 12 or week 13 and he got out. He had on a 2-point conversion when he tore the ACL when he went in, they was playing the Rams.
Right.
And I was mad because I had him on my quarterback in my fantasy football team that pissed me off.
Right.
I remember it viciously.
Right.
But, you know, it was an ACL on a 2-point conversion that he went in and had that knee injury. And I think Carson Wentz is going to come back the same. I just do. I think he's going to come back. I think the Philadelphia Eagles, while having one of the best serviceable backups for their system, is not going to rush that process.
Right.
You won a Super Bowl with Nick Foles starting quarterback. Why rush your franchise quarterback?
Right.
No need to rush him back.
Right. The Eagles are going to be all right.
They're going to be all right.
They're going to be all right.
Now,
when Wentz come back, they're going to be even more all right.
Now, I'm with Tim on this one. Tim Kincaid said, Wallace can't run good routes.
Let's see, that's what y'all problem is. Darrell Henderson couldn't run good routes.
So he's just a 9.
Look, he know what he here for. He know what he here for, man. Stretch the defense. And guess what? If that safety don't get over the top, bombs over Baghdad. That's what's gonna happen, man. Wallace there for one purpose and one purpose only.
9 route.
9 route, man.
Yeah, so you got Nelson Aguilar out there running routes.
And Nelson Aguilar has gotten better. He's gotten better.
The ball ain't beating his hand no more. Ball's beating his hand.
No, it ain't beating his chest up. It beat his chest up. But that's why we're not saying Mike Wallace is a household name and he's gonna be a top
USC
receiver.
Receivers, boy.
He has a role on this team. His role is gonna be to stretch the defense. And guess what? If he catch you with your draws down, you're gonna see 6 go up on the board.
Now Jerome Wolf said, do Atlanta have a chance tonight?
Yeah, they got a chance.
Yeah, a chance.
Yeah, they got a chance. Atlanta loaded too.
And they like 4th.
Look. And that's what I'm about to say for you cut me off. Because I about to put my top 3. I don't even have Minnesota in the top 3. Atlanta's my 3rd team. Man, listen. Do you imagine what we gonna have to do and how we gonna have to game plan when we play these people with Tevin Coleman, Devontae Freeman, Matt Ryan, who's an MVP type of quarterback, Julio Jones, Mohamed Sanu, and Calvin Ridley in the slot? Man, come on, man. That's unfair, dog. That's nasty. And so we gonna have some stuff on our hand. And then on the defensive side of the ball, they loaded too with Beasley and Big Grady Jarrett and Debo Jones, who I think, in my opinion, is the best Mike linebacker in the NFL.
He's coming due for the big thing.
Debo is
the guy.
He that guy. You know what I'm saying? And Atlanta just gonna be even more hungrier from what happened to him last year and then what happened to him in the Super Bowl. So you gotta know. And
everybody's back in that same. The head coach name is on the tip of my tongue. What's the head coach name? It's on the tip of my tongue. Atlanta. Dan Quinn.
Dan Quinn.
Dan O'Quinn.
Yeah.
Everyone's now gonna be in there with their third season this cover 3 scheme. You know, Keo Reed, you know, Keo Neal gonna be
who was the Cam Chancellor
that defense. They re-signed, gave Ricardo Allen a few dollars. Obviously, True Font and Robert Alford line up. You know, everyone's in this third year into this scheme now. So everyone has a familiarity of what they're doing. They're going to be a very good defensive team. So Atlanta Falcons is a team that everyone needs to be focused on because guess what? They got a very good shot at winning this game. This is not going to be the same situation when you looked at or in that divisional round when they played the Eagles and say, no. Right. This is going to be a different situation. They're going to be a very, very hard team to defend. Yeah. Very, very hard team to defend.
They're going to be loaded.
They are going to be
I'm
loaded.
I'm going to tell you what's going to be the key for Atlanta this year. This is Steve Sarkisian, who can't stay off the Hennessy. And the Crown. The key going to be he going into his second year as offensive coordinator with the Falcons. Last year, Julio Jones had a real two-headed monster. They got a job of being
he's not looking to shut him, and he's not been the best head coach since he's been the head coach of Pittsburgh Steelers of handling distractions.
Well, you heard what James Harrison came out and said. James Harrison came out and said that Mike Tomlin is not a good disciplinarian.
Yeah.
It's too loose.
It's too loose.
But how he let the things go on in the locker room and with the players and stuff like that, he feels like that's why they never been able to get over the hump in a minute over there. And I mean, I don't think James Harrison just come out and say that if it wasn't like that.
No.
So I mean, the bottom line is this: y'all about to go in week 1 with James Conner as your running back. Good luck with that.
Good luck with that.
Nah,
pick him up though. Don't get foolish.
Right. Now, Scoot St. Clair says his teammates need to keep his name out of their man's pockets, because when he get hurt, they not paying his bills. He protecting his body, and the man knew his work. For real. Lionel Scott said Bell protects that weak defense too, and I agree with that. I mean, we know the Steelers defense has been abysmal over the last 2 to 3 years.
Yeah.
We know that. But at the end of the day, man, like I said, it's a business.
It's a business.
And when you got certain players that want to get paid, you can't pay everybody. Like I said, they offered the man $70 million, $30 million.
They did the best. They did the best they can do with their cap situation. What they can do. They just paid Antonio Brown. They're paying Big Ben. They got a few other guys that's gonna come and do.
They pay Haywood.
They pay
Villanueva.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that's the offensive lineman, the defensive lineman. They paid people.
They paid people.
It's not enough money to go around.
And that's the business. That's the NFL.
That's the nature of the business.
That's the nature of the business. Not everybody on every team is gonna get paid on that team. They're gonna get paid, but they're not gonna get paid. That's just the nature of that situation.
And I think the Roonies and the Steelers know that Le'Veon Bell is worth more than what they offered him. But just going off of the analytics and statistics over the last 10, 15 years, you know you can't take that kind of chance and tie all that money up like that.
That's correct.
You can't. You just can't pay everybody. It ain't gonna happen. So the best thing to do, go ahead and trade the man away.
Trade the man away. Trade them all. Move on. And not to say this in a bad way, but this past NFL draft, you had 9 running backs from the top 3 rounds. You know, Le'Veon Bell was a previous second-round pick. I'm not saying you can replace a Le'Veon Bell. I'm not even going in that stretch of imagination. But what I am saying is 9 NFL running backs from the first 3 rounds last year. So you may be able to find somebody on some low-cost labor that you could probably draft next upcoming draft and say, look, you don't need him to be Le'Veon Bell, but you need him to be somebody that can be productive and get some touchdowns for your offense. And that's just it. You got Big Ben, you got Antonio Brown. Don't get it twisted. Juju Smith-Schuster is going to be right around the corner.
Right.
Trying to get a check. So they just looking at their cap situation. They're looking at this situation. Now, staying on the same topic of trades. We had a guy earlier this week was traded. GSportz. John Gruden got $100 million to become the new Oakland Raiders head coach. In the first order of business for the Oakland Raiders was to trade their most valuable player, Khalil Mack. In the last hour, Reggie McKenzie said it was a hard thing to do, but they had to do it. To trade Khalil Mack over to Chicago Bears. You get a first-round pick. I think you got a third-round pick. I know they got 2 first-round picks at least for Khalil Mack. And they traded, like they swapped I think like some later picks. They swapped like a third-round pick with a fifth. They made some swaps there. But you got 2 first-round picks for the guy who got the most sacks in the past 3 years in the NFL. A former defensive player of the year. Who won this trade, GSportz? The Raiders won this deal, or did the Bears win this deal? And Khalil Mack got paid. He was trying to get paid. He was holding out. Got the $141 million. Got a big signing bonus. Got paid.
Well, how much he got guaranteed?
If I'm right, Khalil Mack.
I know he asked for 90 guaranteed from the Raiders, but I can't remember exactly.
He got $141 million in total money. But if I'm right, in guaranteed money, Khalil Mack, and I don't want to be off on this because I want to be.
I can't remember that, but I think that the Bears won with this because this is going to make their defense even more potent this year.
Right.
I mean, when you add somebody like Khalil Mack to already fantastic defense that they have over there in Chicago, this is going to make them a
$90 million guaranteed.
You got $90 million. That's what he was looking for.
That we looking for.
When you add him to already talented defense over there, with Fuller at corner, you got Eddie Jackson, you got Amos, you got Akeem Hicks, who he got from the Saints, who has been playing great
football.
Trevathan, you add Khalil Mack to that.
Yeah.
I mean, they loaded over there on the defensive side of the ball. They
Yeah.
get the offense to go along with the defense. Chicago will be all right. You got to give up a lot to get a great player.
Facts.
The way the Raiders handled it,
I'm not a fan of it.
But it's multiple. I'm getting tongue twisted today.
Right.
Multiple reports came out and said that Khalil Mack wasn't answering John Gruden phone calls. John Gruden said he reached out to him like 3 times, and him and his agent never returned his phone calls.
Sound like he want to be a Raider.
Khalil Mack his agent claimed they never got any phone call from Gruden. I don't know who the hell lying. You know what I'm saying? But that's the reports coming out. So, but that's neither here nor there.
Yeah.
This the bottom line. Do I think the Raiders truly really wanted to trade him? No, I don't think so. But people that's not familiar with the situation, the Raiders are a cash poor team. The Raiders are arguably the poorest team in the NFL. They just don't have the money. I mean, it was so bad that they was talking about the Raiders are going to have to finance the money to be able to pay Khalil Mack them $90 million guaranteed. That's how bad the organization is doing right now. And
that's one of the reasons for the move to Vegas.
Al Davis is probably turning over in his grave the way this organization is getting ran. First of all, they messed up when they gave John Gruden $100 million. Why in the hell would you give a coach $100 million guaranteed like that? I have no
idea.
Goddamn clue. I mean, Bill Belichick ain't even getting that.
That's
and
it.
Y'all give John Gruden $100 million and give him total control over all football operations. That's where you messed up at. You're going to tie your money up with a coach. I just don't agree with that. So that's why they cash poor. That's why they couldn't be able to pay Khalil Mack. They made it seem like, they don't think Khalil Mack wanted to be there and this whoop. At the end of the day, they didn't have the money to give him. And that's unheard of in professional sports. You don't have the money to be able to pay this man that kind of money.
They didn't have the cake.
It's crazy. So I think the Raiders did what they had to do from a financial standpoint because they couldn't afford to pay him. So in that regard, I guess they did win. But guess what? I think the Bears won too. And I just think that you're going to see the Bears, that defense over there in Chicago will be a top 5 defense. I promise you. Adding Khalil Mack to them already studs that they got over there, you're going to see the Bears looking real, real good on the defensive side of the ball this year because it was already looking good last year.
Yeah.
So I just think that neither one of the teams lost in this trade. I think the Raiders, they got a lot of picks. They're going to be able to do something with that next year. And John Gruden going to be able to get some of his players in there and get some of those guys that Hugh Jackson and some of those guys that was before him had in there,
right?
And add to that coach over there with the Raiders.
I think that the Bears won this deal, and at the end of the day, to me, and it's not because of the type of talent that I don't think Khalil Mack's one of the once in a lifetime talents. I think that at the end of the day, when you are building a defense, you want a guy who can make an impact, and there's only a few impact players overall. On the defensive position. I'm talking about true impact players. I'm talking about like guys who can just make a stamp on the game and change the dynamic of a football game. Khalil Mack is one of those players.
Right.
We talking about J.J. Watt when he was completely healthy. He was that type of guy. Von Miller is that type of guy. Now you putting Khalil Mack in God's situation where you just drafted Raekwon Smith, you got Danny Trevathan, you drafted Leonard Floyd.
I forgot they drafted Raekwon Smith from
Georgia. You got Leonard Floyd out of Georgia. Akeem Hicks, Eddie Jackson, Amos, one of the top safeties in the league. Kendall Fuller. You start putting those pieces together, then you got a young quarterback. You know what I mean? Trubisky. You got Jordan Howard going to take some of the pressure off of him. Now, the receiving position is still an unknown position because you still got Kevin White who can't play a game.
I know they got Allen Robinson
from the Jaguars. You got Trey Burton now.
And then they drafted the kid Miller from SMU.
Yeah.
No, not from SMU, from Memphis. He's been playing. They've been raving about him all through training camp.
You get Trey Burton from Philadelphia in there. So offensively, they still got waves to make. But on the defensive side of the ball, here's why I think you really make the impact at. Because you're in a division where you got now the Vikings going to be maybe somewhat offensive kind of team with Kirk Cousins. You already know Matthew Stafford, that's an offensive team in Detroit. And you got that bad man in Green Bay, Aaron Rodgers. You got to have somebody to get to those guys. That's the bottom line. You got to have a guy who can impact the game instantly that way.
And they're going to be able to get to the passer without blitzing.
Without blitzing.
Yeah.
So now you put your stand, because we already know that what the Bears has always been their standpoint, being a great defensive team. Not being an offensive juggernaut team. Just offense need to be top 15, but defense got to be top 5. That's the way they've been constructed since I can remember football. Bears having a top 5 defense, offensively, listen, just don't blow the game. You know, lose or don't break it. So to me, when you get a guy like Khalil Mack, you gave up 2 first-round picks, but I can tell you got him young. You didn't get an old Khalil Mack. You didn't get when they got Julius Peppers' use was already at his magnitude. They didn't get the Julius Peppers that was in his prime. They didn't get that guy. Carolina got that guy. You know, somewhere toward the midway through that, you know, I think Green Bay got that guy. You getting Khalil Mack at the peak of his career, and you already have other pieces in place. So guess what? I think that the Bears, or if you're them, it's a good move by GM Ryan Pace, who's former from the Saints. You got to be happy if you're the Bears right now. To me, and you paid the right guy. You didn't pay somebody who say, "Oh man, you know you're not paying potential.
Right.
You're paying production.
Right.
And you start putting that with Raekwon Smith, Leonard Floyd, Danny Trevathan. You know, you start adding all these other guys out here. Man, the Bears defense is going to be a defense that we're going to start looking at being top 5. The question is, what can their offense do? If their offense can get them 17 points a game, the Chicago Bears are going to be a team that you start saying to yourself, man, look, watch out.
Man, when you add a player of Khalil Mack's caliber, it changes things. I mean, this dude arguably the best pass rusher in the NFL. I mean, depending on who you're talking to, some people might say Von Miller, some people might say Khalil Mack. Me personally, I'm going to go with Von Miller. That's just me. But, I mean, you can't go wrong with Khalil Mack. Khalil Mack changes things. I mean, when you got other people added to this defense, like the people we just named, this defense is going to be top 5. Adding him, before they added Khalil Mack, they probably was top 10
Top 10 defense.
And Khalil Mack makes you top 5, top 3. And that's how great I think this Bears defense is going to be this year. Khalil Mack, and then he can drop in coverage. This kid can do it all. He's an athletic freak. Like, you don't see a kid like this come around too often. I mean, there's somebody that come around once every 10 years. He going to show why he was worth all the stuff they gave up for him. And I promise you, Khalil Mack, that $90 million guarantee, you deserve every bit of it.
Every bit of it. You start looking at that. And it's funny how you start looking at this 5th overall pick positions. Guys who get picked at 5th overall. Jalen Ramsey, Patrick Peterson, Khalil Mack. You always start seeing that these guys picked at that number are the athletic guys who can make a difference to impact the game. He's that kind of guy. When you pick a linebacker, you know, slash defensive end, that high, that guy is designed to try to make some sort of impact to the game. Khalil Mack is that guy. And at the end of the day, that's why you make that kind of deal if you're the Bears, because you're saying to yourself, man, I got a good football team, but man, I need a guy who can impact the game and like no other player can. It's not, can I get a player like Khalil Mack? No, let's get Khalil Mack. You know, and when you do that, you're telling your fan base, you're telling your organization one thing: we're trying to compete and win a division. Whether it's this year or next year, I got a guy for the next 3 or 4 years. We're trying to win a division. I know they got Aaron Rodgers. I know they got Matthew Stafford. I know they got Kirk Cousins. But, man, I got a guy over here, too. We're trying to win the division. We're doing it.
And then the thing about it, playing in somewhere in a defense like Chicago, with Leonard Floyd and Trevathan and Akeem Hicks and all those guys, and Raekwon Smith and all those guys, you know they're not going to be able to just load up and double-team Khalil Mack. Khalil Mack going to get single coverage, or Leonard Floyd going to eat. Or Trevathan going to be able to come out and blitz in and stuff like that. They got a lot of different players on that defense that's just going to be able to wreak havoc for them. So, I mean, when you, and that got to be gratifying right now.
Yeah,
for the Bears defense. And I know Khalil Mack is smiling ear to ear. I know he got a Kool-Aid smile. When he found out he was going to the Bears, I know he like, bro, we could be special over here.
Yeah, he's looking at, now, Christina's opinion, I can't seem to get the whole message in here, but it says, Mack isn't going to lead the team to a championship. It's a good move for the team, but not going to. I can't seem to read the rest of the comment. But basically what she's trying to say is Khalil Mack isn't going to lead this team to a championship. It's a good move, but it's not going to lead to a championship. Listen, winning a championship takes a lot of pieces. Right. A lot of pieces got to happen away, and unfortunately, at the end of the day, a little luck got to happen. Now, do I think Mitch Trubisky is the guy? That story still needs to be told. But the Bears, offensively, is what's going to stop them from getting to winning that division or even being a wild card team. I can guarantee you won't be the defense this year.
Right.
Their defense is going to be where they need to be.
Right.
Unless they have having the injury bug around that defense. If that defense can stay 90% healthy throughout the season, their defense is not going to hold them back from trying to get to a championship. It's not going to hold them back from winning that division. Their offense can. If their offense go out there and start having turnovers at the turnovers and a fumble here and a delay of game there and a bunch of timeouts called in the first 5 minutes of a game, no bad clock management, then yes, you're going to start seeing the Bears look atrocious. But it won't be because of their defense. Not going to happen.
Right.
That's just how I see it. That's just how I look at it. I don't see how that defense is going to hold them back from being anywhere they need to be. But offensively, it's still young. Too many new additions and too many moving parts for that. That's going to take some time. That's going to take a season or two. Because Mr. Trubisky got to grow up. Allen Robinson coming off he had one great season, down there in Jacksonville, but he's in a new situation. Trey Burton's in a new situation. Kevin White can't seem to ever stay healthy. And the only consistent guy is Jordan Howard. So that's going to take some time. I don't expect that team to come out here and start throwing 25 points a game.
Right. Right. Their defense is going to be the staple of the team. We know that. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying that the Bears going to compete to win the division or anything like that. But when you got a defense like that, they're going to give people problems this year.
Yeah.
And like I said, I think they're going to be a top 5, top 3 defense possibly in the league this year.
That's just how I see it. And so do I think to me he's worth every nickel? I love the trade. I love the investment all about it. I love what the Bears are trying to do. They're trying to tell their fan base and their team that guess what? We've always been a defensive team. We're going to always make sure we stay as a defensive team. And we're not that far from these guys like you think we are. I think they'd have still been far away without Khalil Mack. But having Khalil Mack, they're saying to themselves, listen, we can compete. That's just what I like to see. Now, one more subject for y'all guys, NFL. We got to talk about it. I know a lot of y'all, I got messages a couple of days, are we going to discuss this topic? I think we have to discuss it. We know what we got to discuss. We know we got to have this conversation about. And this is going on with Nike and Colin Kaepernick. For people who don't know, Nike came out with the promo, a couple of days ago with them and Colin Kaepernick being, the Nike has their 30-year anniversary. And Nike went ahead and made Colin Kaepernick the face of the ad promotion that they just came out with today. The commercial came out today. It was supposed to come out for Thursday Night Football, but it came out early today on YouTube. If people don't see it, go to YouTube. The commercial is out there. And basically what Nike stated was, and I'll kind of get to it. I'm going to read it verbatim. I posted this on our FanView Live Facebook page. I posted it to, our Twitter page. And basically what it says is that believe in something, even if it means sacrificing everything. Just do it. Now, when people seen that, the internet went crazy. Twitter went wild. Facebook went wild. Everyone went bonkers. You got people burning Nike apparel. You got people cutting socks. I mean, the internet went wild behind Nike. You got hashtag boycott all over Twitter. Nike stock price, seen it dip, and everyone has something to say. So if you're a fan, if you out here looking at this sports page now, if you have something to say, now's the time to say. We want to read what you got to say. I'll go ahead and start it off right quick. I'll be frankly honest with everybody. For every person, who has something to say about this, at the end of the day, Nike has been a just do it brand. They've always been a risk brand since they started. They took a chance on Jordan. They took chances on Kobe, LeBron, Tiger Woods, and the amount of athletes will go on and continue. At the end of the day, I don't have any gripe about any person having the right to have a boycott, because that's what this country has been all about. This country got established based upon a boycott. The citizens who were over here boycotted, the British.
Right.
And guess what happened? The British came over here and said, y'all ain't boycotting a darn thing. Guess what? They went to war to have their own free and liberties. That's how this country got started, and this is how this country's progressed to what it is at now. It's a country who has progressed based upon boycotts. African American folks boycotted, to have liberties and have certain rights. Guess what happened after enough boycott and enough, situations happened. They got those liberties. This country is built off of this. I don't have a thing or a gripe where anyone feel like they want to have a non-violent boycott.
Right.
But for the people who are burning apparel, you financially illiterate people, you've already bought the stuff. Didn't you forget? Nike already got your money.
Right.
You've already paid for it.
Right.
You've already paid for your product. You trying to convince me that they ain't the local homeless guy you have seen. I could go drive. We live in the water, G. We down here in the water. You in the tri-parish. You know this what I'm about to say.
Right.
You can't go drive past right here past the G&O or go down Claiborne Bridge and not see somebody homeless. You feel that bad about Nike? You trying to tell me that you can't find a homeless guy? Hey, look, I got a bunch of Nikes in my closet. I'm gonna put it in the bag, dog. Congratulations, today's your day. Here goes some clothing, right? You can't drive 15 minutes while Googling the local Goodwill. Donate the clothes. If you feel that bad about it, you've already paid for it. It makes no sense to me to have you to have that feel about that when it comes to Nike. Now, at the end of the day, I got nothing else to say with you people. I don't see y'all burning your Nike. I don't see you burning your NFL jerseys.
Right.
Let's get something clear, folks. Nike is not just an apparel for shoes. Nike's been away from shoes for a long time now. Nike been producing shirts. Nike been producing NFL jerseys, college football jerseys. Nike is far away from shoes. Nike is the leading brand when it comes to apparel. Nike moves the market. Everybody else follows suit.
Yeah. That's
how this works. So at the end of the day, your little boycott and your $30 Nike tennis, I ain't buying Nike, makes no sense. You ought to pay for the shoes, and that's not even how Nike stays open.
Right. Right.
Nike has an NFL contract with the NFL for all their apparel. Matter of fact, if you wear a pair of cleats G to the game, I got spots with Adidas. You wear when you want to, we gonna find you. You don't believe me? Ask Reggie Bush. They gonna find you. So they are far beyond just tennis shoes. So to me, you have the right. This country is based upon a boycott and a protest. I ain't got nothing to do. As long as it stays non-violent.
Right.
But for people who burn your own apparel, you're financially illiterate. You just got to be stupid.
Right.
You're walking. Now, if you're 19, 20, 15 years old, by all means, you're young and innovative, and I ain't gonna hold that to you. But if you're 30 plus years old, you got to be the stupidest person walking. You're dumb.
Man, we live in a trendy world. That's just the type of world we live in. Society is trendy. You know, they see one person do it, the next person do it, and they see a couple more people do it. Oh, I'm about to start doing it. Man, they got people probably burning apparel from Nike that don't even know why they burning it. They just burning it because they see other people doing it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Probably, white folks.
White folks.
and that's ignorance to me. You know, when you don't even have an understanding on why you burning something or why you doing what you're doing, that's ignorant.
It's ignorant to me.
And I've had this conversation with a couple people over the last couple of days, and when you break down what Kaepernick stands for and all the things that's been going on, they can't even really sit down with me and really have an intellectual conversation and really break down to me what they really pissed about. And that's troubling. That's troubling.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, do you even know why this man even started kneeling in the first place? You don't even really understand it. All y'all hear is he disrespecting the flag. Y'all think he disrespecting the flag, but you don't know what this man believe in and what the stuff he's been doing. Not on the field when he's been kneeling, but outside in the communities and things like that.
Facts.
See, And that's the kind of stuff people need to start educating themselves on. Phil Knight, the owner of Nike, did a phenomenal job pulling this off. You know, Nike is worth $34 billion. I'm going to say this. He could take a risk like that.
Yes.
Man, scared money don't make money.
That's facts.
And that's what it is. And he knew this possibly could have been a big time risk that could have really put his company in a situation to where, you know, they could have lost a lot of revenue. But guess what? When they announced that he was gonna be the face, Nike stock went up 3%. Under Armour went down 2%. Adidas went down like 1.8%. When they announced that Kaepernick was gonna be the face of this Nike promotion for the NFL season. This is why Nike will always be on top. Because they make juggernaut moves like this. You know, this is equivalent to signing LeBron James at the age of 27 years old to your team.
Yes.
This is equivalent to signing Tom Brady in his prime to your team.
This is equivalent with Miami when he went to Miami.
That's how big the deal
this is.
This was to get Kaepernick on board with this. And I think Phil Knight continues to find ways to be innovative and find ways to keep Nike relevant, which they don't have to do too much.
Right.
But this is going to make them even more relevant.
Correct.
Because everybody's talking about Nike right now. Everybody's talking about Nike. You got more people that's going out there buying Nike, and the stock shows it that they went up 3%.
That's
since
it.
all this happened.
Right.
That people are going to support Nike even more.
Right.
Going forward. And for the people that has morals and really was raised the right way and understand what equality is all about in life, you're going to support Nike too still. You know, the people that's burning the apparel and burning shoes and doing all that kind of stuff, that's ignorant people.
Yeah.
That's people that don't understand what's going on.
Correct.
They don't understand. They don't even know what Kaepernick is all about. And everybody's entitled to their opinion.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you feel the type of way, that's on you.
That's on you.
That's on you. I mean, I'm not here to cast aspersion on anybody that look.
Right.
I don't like how he disrespecting the flag because you're an army veteran or whatever like that. But guess what? I'm not gonna burn my Nike stuff because I'm not gonna take it that far. But I don't agree with how he handled it.
You can disagree.
I can
understand that.
But now that you start taking things that far, where you want to start burning apparel, I mean that's your business.
Right.
But it just don't make no sense. I feel like it makes you ignorant to the sense.
Before you burn it, I wear 10 and a half. I wasn't 11. Before you burn your jersey, I wear a large. Gee, I wear a large. Before you burn your Air Force Ones, your Air Max, whatever you got, your Huaraches, whatever you want to do. Your boy Fred wear 10 and a half. I promise you, I put it to good use. You feel that bad about Nike? I'm the guy.
Phil Knight, you the MVP.
You the MVP, man.
Pull this off.
Pull this off.
Pull this off.
Because at the end of the day, when you look at that, man, I like what they had to do. The NFL had a statement. You know what I'm saying? When it comes to social injustice, quality, I had the tweet on me. I think one of the NFL, what the NFL had to say about, that was the first time you actually heard the NFL.
What they had. I mean, anytime you got a $1 billion corporation like Nike come out and do something like this, man, the NFL got to come out and make a statement and sound like they know what the hell they talking about and really sound like they backing this.
Right.
Because if you don't, it can have a domino effect.
Right. They came out and made a statement, said that the social injustice issues that Colin and other pro athletes have raised to deserve our attention and action. Mm-hmm. That was the statement that the NFL made. And this is the first time I heard the NFL had a statement that actually mentioned Colin Kaepernick's name and for social injustice that was in a positive light.
Right.
This was the first time I had to say. But here's my question to the NFL. Why did it take for a campaign from Nike to do it?
Right. Right.
Why did it take a campaign from Nike for the 30th anniversary for you to have a statement of that caliber? If you felt that way about Colin Kaepernick and his position all along, then why did it take the edification of Nike? Let me tell you why. Because Nike just signed a new deal with you for the next 8 years. Mm-hmm. So you can't just go out here and tell Nike what they can and cannot do because you are in bed with Nike for the next 8 years. Mm-hmm. So that's my statement to the NFL. Why did they have to take this ad campaign for him with Nike for you to acknowledge not just his name publicly, but your other athletes that are in the league? That's my take on the NFL. Why did it take this campaign to do so? Because if he wasn't part of this campaign, you don't make that kind of statement.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Matter of fact, I'll go a step further. If his contract was with Reebok or Adidas or Puma, that's it, Under Armour, is this your statement?
Right.
No. To me, that's my belief. I can't say they would not say that, but that's my belief. My belief is that if it, other than, because Nike is the pioneer company and you are in bed with Nike, you have to have something to say. But I think if it was Under Armour he made this agreement with, I don't think the NFL has this kind of promotion. They like, we just gonna be, you know, they may still make a statement, but I don't think they have that statement.
And what I'm curious to know, I wonder if Under Armour and Reebok and Adidas and Puma, I wonder if they threw a pitch at Kaepernick.
It's being reported that they did.
So look, so that leads me to believe that Nike. Well, I'm gonna put it to you like this: I wonder if Nike was the first pitch, or if Nike heard that Adidas and Under Armour threw the pitch, and then they like, hold up, let us go through our pitch and then get him in this. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And at the end of the day, man, I really feel like this. I really feel like Phil Knight, the owner of Nike. Do I believe that he truly is backing what Kaepernick believes in about social injustice and police brutality and all that kind of stuff? I truly 100% don't believe that. I think that they seen that Kaepernick was being sued by other shoe companies, and I think they see that everybody and their mama and everybody in America, all across the world, know who Colin Kaepernick is right now. Mm-hmm. I mean, my son knew who Kaepernick is. My daughter knew who Kaepernick is. I mean, they 8 and 6 years old.
My daughter knows him.
Everybody know who Colin Kaepernick is right now, and so I think it's more so to the fact that, hold up, everybody knows this man. This. I mean, and I'm gonna make a big time statement. Far as popularity, not star status,
right?
But popularity. I think he up there with LeBron James right now. That's my personal opinion. Like, far as just popularity. Like, if Colin Kaepernick walked in the mall, in Lakeside Mall right now,
they know who he is.
He gonna get bombarded. He gonna get stampeded. There's gonna be a stampede of people that gonna run up to him.
Yes.
And I think that goes for anywhere in the country.
Anywhere in the country.
Because he's that kind of a name right now. Everybody know. Don't talk about you going there with that fro. He's that.
He going in the braids and you don't know. He going in that fro? That's Colin.
Even if he coming to braids. But I think it's more so a business for Phil Knight Nike than it is about supporting social injustice and police brutality. Stay woke.
Stay woke.
Stay woke.
Stay
so
woke.
at the end of the day, it's a business.
It's a business.
These people ain't got a $32 billion corporation for nothing.
So you saying it's big business? They no brown.
I think this was a big business move for Phil Knight Nike. I think this was more so about that than them supporting what he believes in. And the statement they put. What the statement is? I forgot what it said. I don't want
paraphrase. No
paraphrase.
No need to paraphrase. Let's use exactly their statement. Their statement was believe in something, even if it means sacrificing everything.
See, and that was a hell of a marketing scheme right there. Hell of a marketing tactic, because that lures you in, and that manipulates your mind that Nike is for social injustice. Nike is against police brutality. They believe in what Kaepernick believes in, and we support him. Don't drink the Kool-Aid. Don't drink the Kool-Aid. Man, look,
it came off that way.
Phil Knight.
It came off that way.
This was a hell of a marketing tactic. And they know that everybody in mama knew who Colin Kaepernick is. Putting him on the front of this ad, of this marketing campaign to start the football season, was phenomenal. And it keeps Nike right at the top. And
So
it raises them even more notches up past Adidas and Under Armour. Not that they was right there on them,
right?
But it just surpassed them, them even more.
They waited for the right time to make this promotion what it is. They waited for week 1 of an NFL season approaching. They dropped this on a Tuesday. They're gonna have the commercial come out tonight. Mm-hmm. Strategically, they had this in the works probably since the end of last season, but waited for the right time. Right now was the right time. Right before when America is at the attention of the football season. You had the attention of the NFL, and we dropped this ad right there. Let me hit it for y'all right there. Boom. Just like that. It was very, I'm not going to tell you, I didn't look at it the way you just put it that way.
Telling you.
I didn't look at it that way. I look at that as, man, Nike. I looked at it like, man, look, it had to be Nike to do this. It wouldn't have gave it the same flair if it was Reebok, if it was Puma, if it was Under Armour, if it was Adidas. I ain't think it had the same flair. But because it's Nike, you're like, man.
Cream of the crop.
Cream of the crop.
That rises.
Yes.
To the top.
The top. That cream. And that's what I looked at and said, man, it had to be Nike. Because if it wasn't Nike, you saying to yourself, man, it's somebody, you know who's second best. You know all these other companies are second best.
Right.
So it doesn't have the same flair. But it's because it's the cream of the crop, guess what other companies that are at the top have to do? They have to acknowledge. You have to, now, whether Phil Knight, actually, I probably agree with you on that. He probably did good. But what you do have to do now, whether he believes it or not, you do have to acknowledge it. Because one of the cream of the crop companies came out and said, you know what? This is our ad. You got to,
and look, I could be wrong. I could be wrong about my analysis about Phil Knight and their true feelings about this whole social injustice and police brutality. I could be dead wrong, but my gut feeling tells me I'm right. And I would love to have an interview, and I would love to see him do an interview about what went into this.
What went into this?
I want to know what went into this decision with you getting Kaepernick and how much of a risk this was. Like, you could have taken, they could have took a big hit. They could have took a big hit. I want to know what went into this whole decision, and I want to know your thought process. I want to know. I want to hear. I want to look in his eyes. I want to see. I want to read his body language. I want to see his facial expression.
And I'm quite sure that
I want to know your stance, and I want to know. I want to get your perspective on police brutality, social injustice, and everything that Kaepernick was kneeling for. I want him to get that, and if I can get that, and I can read into that, because I feel like I got to give it discernment. And if I see that, and I hear where he's coming from, then I can give you a better feeling on what I think this was really about. But if I had to go on my gut feeling, I think this was a whole marketing scheme. I think this was to build Nike up even more, and it did. I mean, they got a lot of people right now that's riding Nike coattail right now because of what happened. And they made a splash. They made a big splash, and it was smart. It was fantastic. And I'm not trying to say that this makes Phil Knight and Nike a bad person, even if they did it because of that. And they don't really believe in social injustice and police brutality. I'm just saying, I don't want folks to get caught up with, Nike is for what Kaepernick believes in. Look, it's all about Nike. Look. Or your horses.
Or your horses.
Or your horses. So I would love for Phil Knight to come out and do an interview and get his take on this whole situation.
I would love to see, more importantly, not necessarily the interview, but I'm quite sure that everything has been documented and filmed that led up to this. I would like to see that type of documentary, what led up to this. Because the interview, now that it's all taking place and you have a result from a stock price and you have a result from what a reaction is, not to say that his interview would be unjustified, but I would like to see I like to visually watch what led up to this point, because that's, to me, this was everything before the reactions.
Right.
That gives me his true identity of how he felt about this. Because now he got his reaction. The reaction is happening now. It's like, yeah, it worked, it didn't work, whatever. You know what I mean? I like to see what led up to this, because I really want to. And it's not because I want to see if he believes in social injustice or not. I just want to know if it's marketing or not. I just want to know if it was.
I want to know that.
I want to know if it was marketing or not.
Hey, look, that don't mean I ain't gonna stay with
Nike.
I'm gonna stay with it, but I just want to know, and I want the African American culture and the African American people that's around the country and all throughout the United States. I just want us to be aware on what's going on and understand. Look, don't get caught up in thinking these people really for what
you believe in. For what you believe in.
Do not drink the Kool-Aid. Sweet as it is. Do not drink the Kool-Aid, because these people will manipulate the hell out of you.
That Kool-Aid is so sweet right now, it's like that boy off a house party.
I'm just saying.
That little boy pouring all that sugar in the house. Girl, that's not good.
I'm just saying.
They pouring that Kool-Aid, G. He just doing this.
I'm not gonna sit. I mean, I'm gonna still wear
real
Nike.
Sweet Kool-Aid.
I'm gonna still wear Nike no matter what. But unless he come out and I find out, Phil Knight is
he Tommy Hilfiger.
He a racist or something like that of that nature. But if I find out, look, we did it for marketing or we did it for business purposes, it ain't that we so much believe in social injustice and police brutality. I'm not gonna be like, oh man, this guy's a bad person. I don't want to, but I just want to know.
I just want to know.
I just want to know, and I think the world deserves to know.
Yeah.
And the African American community needs to know.
I would 1,000% agree. That's why I'm at. I would want to know that too. That's just my take on that. I would love to want to know what into this is. It's not gonna really change my knowledge as you come off as you Tommy Hilfiger or some crap. You come up like that, bitch, I'm out. Bitch, I ain't burning shoes. I'm gonna just give my shit away to local Goodwill and kiss my ass. I'm done. I'm gonna buy a Jumpman, bitch.
Switching gears to them LSU Tigers.
The Tigers, college football, folks. To me, I'm gonna call it week 1 because the prior week, I'm not gonna call that week 1 in college football. That's just not what it is. But man, LSU come out there in Dallas, in Arlington, against them Hurricanes. LSU's ranked 25th in the country. Miami's ranked number 8. And LSU comes out there with a performance. You know, they went out there, had a heck of a defensive performance against the Miami Hurricanes. Made the Miami Hurricanes offense look abysmal. And they came out there with a spectacular win where everybody in the country, including myself, for people who tuned into the stream, we streamed the game. FanView Live, we streamed the game. And my take was Miami. People listened to my commentary. I was on Miami. But LSU came out there with the first drive against Miami, slowed them down. That defense was acting an animal from that first drive. And from that point on, you start seeing some of the things that LSU was able to do. Wasn't so much offense going on early to the big run from Nick Brissett. Then that kind of opened the game up. Then after that, you start seeing Miami just look atrocious offensively. You know, Malik Rosier just wasn't, didn't look good.
Right.
Offensive wasn't able to run the football, wasn't really getting the ball to the receivers, and LSU just looked like that. Joe Burrows, managed the game very well, didn't make many mistakes, didn't look like a Heisman Trophy candidate either. But LSU came out with a performance to make them jump 14 points. The question is, we want to ask for people who are tuning in right now, LSU fans, are LSU non-contenders? They mean national championship. Did they make a case to be now contenders for possibly that championship? I know it's week 1, but did they make a case?
The answer is hell no. Hell to the no. Miami was abysmal. Miami, I don't even know how the hell they was top 10 in the country coming into this game. That was ridiculous. And I felt that way going into the game. I'm like, man, Miami is not top 10 in this country.
They're not top 10?
No. I thought they was a top 25 team.
Right.
But there's no way in the hell they should have been a top 10 team coming into this game. With that being said, LSU played a pretty good game. I knew that the staple of this team was going to be the defense. I knew that. With Dave Aranda, what he do on that different side of the ball, and the studs they got on that side of the ball, which is phenomenal. For the offensive side, though, I will say the way Esminga called plays, I was thoroughly impressed. I was thoroughly impressed the way he called the game, particularly in the first half. But I wasn't impressed throughout the game. It seemed like once they got up, I think it was up 27-3.
27-3 at halftime.
There's a 27-3 at the half. Once they got in the second half, it's like they tried to go on cruise control, and that's been a staple of LSU in the past.
Right.
I thought that you started seeing them get real conservative. What I was surprised with the running of Nick Brissett. But at the same time, I wasn't surprised because the way that hole opened up like the big C, the big red C, and my son could have ran through it. Nick Brissett finished the game with 125 yards, 2 touchdowns, and hit that long 50-yard run. That kind of bust the game open in the beginning of the first quarter. But the thing that was troubling for me was they was 3 for 16 on third down. Miami's D-line looked good, particularly Gerald Willis, the New Orleans native from out of Endicott. He was phenomenal. I think he had like 5 tackles for loss, and he had a sack, and he just was wreaking havoc all night. They was 3 for 16 on third down. They just couldn't get first downs on the money down. I thought that was troubling because other than that D-line, Miami defense did not look particularly good. In my opinion. I just felt like that LSU offense should have been a little bit more efficient. Burrow didn't look bad, but he didn't look great either. And he looked like a solid quarterback. He looked like a game manager. And I just think if you want to beat let's be real, the elephant in the room. If you want beat people like Alabama,
you got Auburn
and Georgia, and Auburn, you can't have a game manager at quarterback. And that's just what it is because you don't have the running backs in that stable like you did in the past. Regardless of what Nick Brissett did in the game, do not drink the Kool-Aid.
Can't keep pouring.
Can't keep pouring. I think that going forward, I do think Joe Burrow is going to get better as each game goes on.
Right.
But I need to see more.
I need to see more. I need to see them be more aggressive. I need to see them take more shots down the field. Like I said this all last week. I think LSU has the best receiving core in the nation, hands down. They are loaded at the receiver position. I just want to see Isminga be able to use all those weapons. I mean, you got the true freshmen, Jamar Chase and Terrence Marshall.
Right.
You got Justin Jefferson, the kid from Destrehan, who led him in receiving with the 5 catches for 81 yards. Justin Jefferson looked great in that game. You got Justin Giles, the transfer.
He had that fumble for possession, though.
Yeah. You got Jonathan Giles in the slot, who the guy that came from Texas Tech who had over 1,100 yards receiving last year.
Derek Dillon.
You got Dillon. You got Racing McMahon. You got Sullivan, the 6'5" kid.
Right.
So they loaded.
They loaded.
I mean, they got a lot of different people they can throw the ball to. I just want to see Isminga be able to use all of them. Joe Burrow was 11 for 24, 140 yards, 5.8 yards of completion.
And if you take away the pass from Jamar Chase that put them on the 1, which, no offense to people, I watched that play over and over. That was an incomplete pass. If you go watch it, if you had a chance to review it, he didn't get 2 feet. He didn't get 1 foot when he had possession. Right. He actually dropped. When you watch the play, it was out of. It was. If you can call it a completed pass, it should have been a touchdown. Right. If you call it a completed pass, but it ended up actually being an incomplete. I think they really went down into call hut because if you watched it long enough, you're like, it was an incomplete pass. But no hit on that. Great effort by Jamar Chase.
Right. The thing that I was kind of encouraged about with Joe Burrow was when they blitzed him. He seemed poised in the pocket. He didn't seem routed at all. He was able to make decisions to either run the ball and get out of there or dump it off to somebody. He did do those things pretty good. And then one of the best things that he did all night was that he did not turn the ball over.
Right.
In the past they've been atrocious with turning the ball over, strip sack, fumbles, interceptions.
Right.
Danny Allen was known for that last year. And I mean Brandon Harris the year before. So that's one thing he didn't do in this game.
Right.
So that was kind of encouraging. But I just think going forward, when you start talking about beating Auburn, who they got to play the week after next, down there at Auburn, you're gonna have to be able to throw the ball on the field. You're gonna have to be able to accumulate more than 140 yards passing.
That's
to beat
correct.
the people, because you can't expect your running game to be able to do this and count on this every night.
Every night.
I just don't see it. On the defensive side of the ball, man, they loaded on the defensive side of the ball.
They loaded.
But losing Shy-Sign,
yeah.
That's going to be a big deal.
Out of Houston. Losing that kid.
That's going to be a big deal, man. David Aranda already said this kid is going to be better than Arden Key. He said he has a better feel for the game. I mean, if you watch this kid is a damn freak. I mean, he looks the part.
He looked the part.
He plays.
He played the part. He didn't think he had an ACL. He thought he was able to go back in the game.
Yeah.
He like, I'm fine. He asked the leg. He like, man, I think I'm good.
Yeah. Losing him is going to be a big deal. Now, I do think the kid, Andre Anthony, out of New Orleans, who went to Edna Carr too as well.
Right.
I do think he could come in and really look good, but he's no Shay-Sign.
No, he's
no Shay-Sign. Shay-Sign is big time.
They got that kid Phillips, number 6. They had the touchdown for
the pick 6.
Had the pick 6.
Right. And Devin White was Devin White. He led him in tackle. I want to see he had 9 tackles.
That dude's All-American.
He's going to be big time. Greedy Daniels, he was big time. I liked how Christian Fulton looked. He looked good. Delpit looked really good. I mean, he was flying around.
They blitzed him a lot, and they kind of knew he was coming off the blitz doing that. And that's the only thing they need to disguise him a little bit more. But other than that, I like the way he was coming off the blitz. They just got disguised. He looked real good, though.
Defensive side of the ball, you're not going to have to worry about him. David Aranda, especially with them studs he got over there, they're going to be in position to be one of the most dominant defenses in the SEC. I think you're going to see that defense get better and better as the year goes on. They flying around the ball. They got a lot of depth in the secondary. They got a lot of depth at D-line with Logan and Big Lawrence in the middle. Ed Alexander. I mean, the list goes on and on. They're going to be great. Patrick Queen at linebacker, too. He played great in that game. So I think
Calvin Joseph, don't
he gave up a touchdown. But that kid's going to be good. And let's not forget, that kid's really going to be a safety when it's all said and done. Once Derek Stingley Jr. get there next year, you're going to see Kelvin Joseph go to the safety position. But, I mean, he's still a good corner.
Good corner.
I mean, he gave up a touchdown. I mean, that's going to happen.
That's going to happen.
But on the defensive side of the ball, David Randall going to have those guys ready. Even when they play Alabama and go against that stud, that quarterback Tua, I think David Randall is going to have that defense looking really good. But it's going to be up to that offense and Steve and Isminga to be able to get Joe Burrow being able to throw the ball on the field and be able to complete better than 5.8 yards of completion.
I think one of the biggest things I also see in the offense, to me,
the miscommunication. You used 3 timeouts in the first maybe 6 minutes of the game. That can't happen when you play against an Auburn. That can't happen when you play against an Alabama or even now going forward, Texas A&M with Jimbo going on there. You can't have those. We already know in Georgia, which they have this year. You're gonna have to get those communications together because when you use your 3 timeouts that early in the half, you say to yourself, man, those things can come back and haunt you later on in that half. It was just some miscommunication issues between Burrow and I don't know what was going on, but maybe getting guys out there on the field fast enough, getting the play called properly. But gotta work those kinks out because Miami, to me, they didn't look like a top 25 team. They didn't look like a top team. To me, like I told somebody going into the game, Malik Rozier had lost the last 3 games of the season for Miami. He was 45% passing and looked atrocious those last 3 games. And he looked just as atrocious in that game. I think if you're Miami, I think you got to look at yourself and say, man, look, if you Mark Rick, is out of his job or your job? At some point in time, I'm not saying that you may like the kid, but reality is that you lost your last 4 games straight. And this guy is not throwing over 45%. And he looked uncomfortable. He didn't look very good. He didn't look like he couldn't throw outrights very well. And so you got to start asking yourself. Now, granted, they got some cupcake team coming up, but hey, when you get into your ACC play, you need to find a quarterback because Malik Rozier is probably should not be your guy going forward. I tweeted that. People who follow me on Twitter. Listen, it's his job.
But the flip side to that is, they're not going to face too many defenses in the ACC other than Clemson that's going to be like LSU. So I think you see Miami get on track. I don't think they're going to be Clemson. No. But after Clemson, the way Florida State looked at it, the
state of Florida did bad.
Florida State couldn't even put up over 3 points with Devon Francois as quarterback. So Miami might be in a good situation. They might be in I don't think they have a chance to beat Clemson.
No.
But I think they're gonna be in a good situation to probably finish second and be one of the better teams in the ACC. So I don't think it's time to hit the panic button for them. LSU was really good on the defensive side of the ball tonight. Another thing about the LSU, Cole Tracy, their kicker. This kid played at a D2 school.
Assumption
College. I don't even know what that is. They went and got this kid. This kid hit 4 field goals, and one of them was a 54-yarder. He's going to be key to this team going forward because when you play against teams like Alabama and Georgia, you got to play Auburn. All points count. You're going to need somebody to be able to hit field goals because you're not going to be able to score. And especially with you going to Auburn the week after next and you still trying to get the kinks out of this offense and get Joe Burrow up to speed and get him more comfortable. So it's going to be interesting to see how much of a factor Cole Tracy, that kicker, going to play into this game. But I think that LSU is set up for success if they can get past Auburn. If they can get past Auburn at Auburn,
title contenders?
I don't know about all that. They're set up for success.
What y'all think? Y'all tuning in? Title contenders? LSU title contenders.
They set up for success because you play Georgia at home, you play Alabama at home, and the only other road games they got that's gonna probably be tough. Maybe Florida. But I wouldn't even impress how Florida looked in their open against Lighthouse of the Blind. So
I wouldn't impress either.
If you could beat Auburn on the road, you are set up for success going forward because, like I say, you play Georgia at home, you play Alabama at home.
Which I would say this, and I would say this. Auburn, to me, now granted, they beat Washington, but Jake Browning did not look like Jake Browning. Jake Browning did not look like the guy I saw 2 years ago who played in the playoffs. When they lost, granted, they got shredded when they played Alabama, but he didn't look like the guy who threw 40 touchdowns.
Right.
Jake Browning looks, I don't know where that kid went. It's not the same Jake Browning I'm used to seeing. Maybe he don't have the running back he had, but I don't know if they had Chris Polk there now. I don't know. I know they don't have John Ross. I know he had lost another guy to the pros. I know he lost some pro players. But he did not look like the same Jake Browning I saw when he threw 40 touchdowns 2 seasons ago.
Right.
Just didn't select that guy. Now Washington, over the past few years has produced some NFL talent. I don't take nothing from it. Last year they had 2 second-round pick corners. Kevin King and Sidney Jones.
Right.
They had some players that go pro out of this program. Of a recent memory, Shaq Thompson was a first-round pick. It was a safety in there, but became a linebacker at the Panthers. But that Washington team didn't look like they returned a lot of good players, but they didn't really look solid to me. Auburn didn't really look solid offensively. I'm not a big fan of the quarterback. Was it Stingman? I can't pronounce his last name. Stedman. Not a big fan of Stedman. I think he's just a game manager. I think he's just a guy that's in position to starting quarterback now. I've seen better quarterbacks at Auburn. To me, he's not the guy. I think if you can get pressure on him, there's no carry on Johnson there no more. They're still trying to find that running back replacement down in Auburn. So Auburn got some holes. Defensively, I like them. I like the Auburn defensively.
But I thought the turning point in that game against Washington, Jake Brown and them, they're inside the 10-yard line, and they try to run speed option.
And they had some fumble.
And he fumbles the ball. Auburn got the ball. They score right there. I feel like that would have changed the whole complexion of the game.
He tried to do some flicker. He got hit, and he flicked the ball, and they had to turnover inside the goal line.
Exactly.
When that play happened, like, this game is over. They're gonna lose this game.
Exactly.
And that's not who he is as a quarterback. He sits in the pocket and he makes throws. When you got a guy who throws the ball, who throws 40 touchdowns, that's not a play you want him doing.
Right.
I'm just sorry. That's just not. He's a sit in the pocket, throw the quarterback kind of guy. And I don't know what Chris Peterson was thinking, but they lost. I like what Auburn does defensively. To me, Stigman is. I'm not a fan of him by any means at quarterback. I think it's a winnable game at LSU, for LSU to win, even going to Auburn. But the key thing will have to be is being healthy. Obviously, you lost a linebacker week 1, who's a heck of a kid. You know, I think also Michael Divinity may be stepping up on some, maybe getting some more snaps on that defense. But I like what the LSU gonna do defensively. But I just think that I think use Southeastern as the time to get patterns and get communication together. Right. Use Southeastern as the game to where I want to see Joe Burrows open up the offense and kind of get out and start passing the football more. Because he had, a play where Derek Dillon dropped the ball, then he had a couple of plays where he kind of the communication wasn't there. So use Southeastern, unfortunately, it's my alma mater. But use this game as a game to set yourself up to say, man, look, we can try to, get some communication, get some things down.
Right.
Because if you don't, you're going to have a tough day out there in Alabama.
But the LSU fans, do not get your panties in a bunch. Do not get overly excited about this. There's a lot of football left to be played.
They moved from 25 to 11, man.
I did actually think I thought they were gonna lose the game.
Right.
Against Miami, but they didn't. But like I said, it's encouraging. It's encouraging to see how they won that game. It was encouraging to see that defense being able to be stout like they was the last 2-3 years under Dave Aranda. And like I said, Joe Burrow, he didn't look bad. He didn't look bad at all. No. He didn't look good either.
No,
he looked like a game manager.
A game manager.
And if they, like I said, I think he's still trying to get comfortable in that offense and learn the nuances of that offense and get more comfortable with his receivers and things like that. So I think that he has potential to grow in that offense.
Agreed.
And if he can do that, it can take LSU to a whole other level because Lord knows that receiver they are loaded. I continue to say that they're loaded.
They're loaded. Now, on to another college football program. We got a Big Ten school, GSportz. They play prime time. Saturday night against Notre Dame. Talking about the Wolverines. Big time head coach Jim Harbaugh 3 seasons ago. Paid big time money. I think he was probably made the second or third college football coach paid in college football.
Third highest paid.
Third highest paid coach in college football. You come out week 1 against Notre Dame, and you lay the egg out there in South Bend. GSportz. It's Jim Harbaugh on the hot seat. Is he overrated? Michigan fans, what y'all think? Where we at with this one, GSportz?
Man, Jim Harbaugh, I guess I gotta say he is slightly overrated. We was all excited about Jim Harbaugh coming down to the Ann Arbor because all the success he had at Stanford, he made Stanford a relevant program.
Starting to think he had because he had Andrew Luck, but keep going.
And made that team really, really prominent in the Pac-12. Then you left there and you went to San Francisco, and you took San Francisco and went to 3 NFC Championship games and a Super Bowl. You took Colin Kaepernick and made him into a household name. And so when you left them to come to Michigan, your alma mater, I just thought that we was gonna be in the national championship race at least by his 3rd year. That has not been the case. Over the last 3 years, is this his 4th year?
It's his 4th year now.
It's his 4th year. In the last 4 years, this has been not up to par. 28-12. He's 9-9 in his last 18 games. He's 2-8 versus top 15 opponents. He's 0-4 on the road, and he's 0-3. Most importantly,
against Ohio State.
and he's 1-5 against rivals, and that's Michigan State, Ohio State. So he beat Michigan State one time. 1-5 against your rivals. 0-3 against Ohio State. That's unacceptable, man. You gotta be able to get it done. And we thought that getting Shea Patterson in here was gonna be the answer to all our prayers. And for the most part, Shea Patterson did not look bad in that game. I thought the play calling could have got a little better. It was one play in the clutch moment of the game. And I know we just was talking about this with Washington, with Joe Burrow. I mean, I said Joe Burrow. With Jay Browning. They running speed option with Shea Patterson. I mean, if you watch Shea Patterson play, this guy is not somebody you're supposed to run speed option with. And I thought that was a crucial moment in the game when we ran that, and that messed up a great drive for us to score. I just think that everything just went wrong in that game. The field goal where we dropped the snap.
Yep.
That was 3 points. I mean, Shea Patterson delivered a dart over the middle to the tight end. He dropped the pass. And this guy is a potential first, second round pick that dropped that ball. And then you had to play where, the quarterback from Notre Dame throws it. We got 2 safeties over the top. One of our safeties right there makes a hell of a play on the ball. He got his hand on the ball. And the receiver just takes it out of his hand and scores a touchdown. So it was.
Let me get it out you.
That was 3 plays in that game against Notre Dame that I was just like, bro, it just ain't going our way today. It just ain't meant to be. And with all that being said, I'm going to give a little credit to Notre Dame defense. Notre Dame defense like that. They got athletes flying around the ball. They was phenomenal all night long. And with that being said, Shea Patterson still played a pretty good game. I mean, he was 20 for 30, 227 yards. He had the 1 pick. But I thought that Notre Dame defense dictated how Jim Harbaugh called that game instead of Jim Harbaugh dictating what he wanted to do and make them adjust to how he was calling the game. And I thought that was the difference. I thought playing out there in Notre Dame on the road, I think that kind of got to the Michigan the Michigan offense and our defense. And the worst thing about our team, and if you know Jim Harbaugh and how he was at San Francisco, how he was at Stanford, he loves to run the ball. Man, we averaged 1.8 yards a carry. 58 yards on the night.
Gilden and Chris Evans
couldn't get
a
run the ball, and I really think it was because of our offensive line. I mean, we could not get a push at all. I mean, they was in the backfield as soon as they was touching the ball. And if you can't run the ball with a Jim Harbaugh offense, because he likes to set a lot of things up off play action, it just couldn't happen. So with that being said, man, I think Michigan is in trouble because we still got to go to Penn State, Wisconsin, Ohio State. Ohio State put up 77 points on them people Saturday.
And no Urban Meyer.
77 points. They loaded. So I mean, it's gonna be a tough season. The reason why I'm gonna say that I think Jim Harbaugh is not on a hot seat because he is owed $15 million if you fire him. And so I think a lot of football is left to be played this season. You gotta let it play out. I will say this: if he doesn't beat Penn State, Wisconsin, Ohio State, I think you got to let him go. I think you got to chalk that $15 million up and let him go. If he loses to all 3 of them, that means you're going to be at 4 losses for the season. So, and that means you just cannot get it done. I mean, 2-8 against the top 15, 0-4 on the road against the top 15, 0-3 against Ohio State, 1-5 against your rivals, 9-9 in your last 18 games. He's unacceptable. Jim Harbaugh, you're the 3rd highest paid coach in college football. You getting paid more than Urban Meyer. Unacceptable. You got to be able to get it done in the big house.
At the end of the day, I look at Jim Harbaugh. People don't understand. I did the video about it. I made the note of him being 99 in the last few games. Here's what we got to start looking at, folks. At some point in time, you got to coach to your talent. You got to coach what these guys are able to do for you. And to me, Shea Patterson isn't really a guy. I think he's more of a spread option guy. When you see him down the Ole Miss, you spread him out and get the football in space. You can't just take guys with them what their ability is and try to make them to what you want them to be.
Right.
At some point in time, you got to start coaching to what your talent has for you. You got to start coaching that a bit. You get the #1 receiver in the nation last year, depending on who you ask. It's either between Tay or Donovan Peoples-Jones. Donovan Peoples-Jones ranked on ESPN #1 receiver in the nation last year.
Right.
This guy can't get more than 2 catches a game. You at some point in time, you starting to recruit some of these kids. Rashad Gary didn't even look like I didn't even hear his name last night.
He had a pretty good game. Devin Bush had a great game.
Devin Bush, but he got hurt.
But I'm saying he had a great game while he was in.
At some point in time,
and then Michigan best receiver got hurt too. He out for the season. Black,
yeah, Trey Black, who's a true freshman last year.
Yeah, he out for the season.
Right, he got hurt last year.
Right.
So
but even after him, they still got some good receivers.
Yeah, got some good receivers in place. So you got to start coaching to what you have and start using these guys to their abilities. Not so much trying to get everybody to buy into what you want to do, but you got to start coaching to the talent that you have. And that's what makes great coaches.
Right.
Urban Meyer knows that he's going to coach this team based on nothing. Granted, Urban Meyer going to want to do certain things, but he has to coach to the talent that he has. That goes the same thing for DatBoy Sweeney.
Right.
He's not trying to make what's the quarterback he has now? Kelly Bryant, like Deshaun Watson.
Right.
He's not Deshaun Watson. You have to coach the game based upon what you have in place. It seems as if the past 3 years I looked at Michigan football. Well, I'm a diehard Michigan fan.
Yeah.
He's been coaching the way he wants the program to run versus coaching the way the talent is. No offense to Gilden, I think he's a good back, but I think that the way you're using him, it's not working. Chris Evans is more of a speed back. You're trying to run between the guard and the center. He's a speed back.
Right.
You got to start using these guys based upon what their strengths are, not what you want to do. And until he figures, now granted, that may have worked at Stanford. You were recruiting on the West Coast. You were recruiting guys, on the West Coast. You were probably recruiting some in Houston because no Luck is from Houston. You're recruiting some part in Texas, recruiting down there in California because Richard Sherman was there. Doug Baldwin was there. So now when you're in the Big Ten recruiting, you can't try to win Big Ten football the way Big Ten was played in 95 and 96. You got Ohio State now. You got Wisconsin now. You got Penn State now. These programs have started to make adjustments on how to play football. You got to make the adjustment too. You got to start playing to the talent because right now the 99 ain't enough. It ain't going to cut it. And being 0-3 to Ohio State who looks loaded.
Right.
Who looks loaded. Them people beat a D1 school and put up 77 points.
Right.
They ain't beat no Lighthouse of the Blind. They didn't beat Southeastern. They beat Oregon State. They beat a Pac-12 team. They beat a top Power 5 team. So at some point in time, you got to ask yourself, man, how can I coach to the talent that I have? And that's for Jim Harbaugh, I have not seen in the past 18 games. And that's when I'm looking at. I said, man, listen, as much as he's been the Michigan guy and all the credit that he's had from the previous places that he's been, even San Diego State when he was there. But at this point in time now, you're the third highest paid football coach, and this team got to start winning like it. They got to start looking like it. I have no beef with Notre Dame, but when I pay a guy of this magnitude, and let's get something straight. Let's talk about some of the recruiting classes that he had. Mm-hmm. Michigan has not been a top 5 recruiting class team. They've been in the top 10. A lot of 3 stars start playing on this team. A lot of 2. Ohio State got 4 and 5 stars, baby. And that does not mean that because you get 4 and 5 stars that you're going to be better. Mm-hmm. But their coaching staff, combined with the 4 and 5 stars, this is why Ohio State can put up 77 points against a Pac-12 team. You're recruiting guys. You're getting for every 1 star, you're getting 4 3 stars, 4 and 5 3 stars. These people getting 4 and 5 stars over here. You got to step this up. And how do you step all that up? At some point in time, you got to beat the rivals. Yeah. Can't be 1 and 5 against the rivals. Can't be 0 and 3 against Ohio State.
I mean, the excuse he's been using for the last 2 years is I haven't had a quarterback. You got Shea Patterson there. Shea Patterson, big time. You got to be able to get it done. I know it's 1 game, but you got to be able to get it done. And like I say, if they don't get some wins against Ohio State, Penn State, and Wisconsin, I think he got to possibly think about,
he's on my high seat,
give him his walking papers. But I
papers.
just don't know if they're going to give him his walking papers with the $15 million they're going to give him.
I think it's tough to find to fire Jim Harbaugh because you got to start asking yourself, you've been through now, it'll be Jim Harbaugh, Brady Holt, Rich Rod, and you haven't found what you would call a successor since Lloyd Carr. And you're starting to go through coaches. And that does not look good for a college football career. I'm a big believer of this. There's about 4 college football programs, maybe 5, that makes college football along with Alabama and Ohio State. There's 4 or 5 other programs, Michigan being one of them. Michigan, LSU, Texas, USC, and Miami. Those 5 programs are essential to college football. They have to be good. And when college football is at its best, those 5 programs combined with Alabama and Ohio State makes college football the best you're probably going to see. When you see all those 5 programs are a one-loss team, or they look like juggernauts. They look like the elite of the crop. Nothing against Clemson, but Clemson hasn't always been that type of program. You know, Clemson fall off the mark like, okay, it was Clemson. But Miami has been traditionally that kind of program. Same thing goes for LSU. Same thing goes for USC. Same thing goes for Texas. I mean, I think, if I'm right, they lost.
Yeah, Texas lost.
They lost. They lost to Maryland.
Texas lost. For the second year in a row.
In a row. So, in Michigan, you know, so those programs need to look great for college football to look its best. You know, because you're going to have Alabama and you're going to have Ohio State who are, and then every now and then there's nothing wrong with having a Washington and having a Clemson, and you know, I want to put Florida State in there, but you know,
for Urban Meyer to be making less money than Jim Harbaugh, that's ridiculous.
That's ridiculous.
That's ridiculous, especially going off of, you know, what's taking place over the last 3 years since Harbaugh's been in Michigan. I mean, you got to do better than that, man. 2-8 is the top 15. 0-3 against Ohio State.
You got to do better.
You 0-4 on the road. You can't win on the road.
You got to do better.
Top 15 team. Come on, man. 9-9 your last 18 games.
You're not. To me, he on my hot seat. you got to find a way to win those games. And at the end of the day, it's not getting any easier. It's not going to get any better. The Michigan State, the Penn State, because you on their side. Michigan State, Penn State, and Ohio State all waiting for you. They're waiting. They ain't in. Oh, no. You got to see them every year. Got to handle the business. Now on the other side, you ain't fortunate. You ain't got the Nebraskas of the world and the Minnesotas and the Northwesterns. That's Wisconsin got that benefit.
Right.
You got to see the Penn State in those schools. Got to get it together, Michigan. Got to get it together because right now, Jim, you're on my hot seat. You're around here looking.
Hopefully we get this thing turned around before the season. Hopefully get it turned around.
I hope you do too. Boom. Listen, that's our show, guys. Listen, thanks for everybody for tuning in, FanView. Again, don't forget to tune in to us. We're going to be streaming the Saints game live on Sunday. GSportz. You got anywhere you going to be tomorrow?
Landry Walker and Cutler. Battle Algiers. I'm going to tell y'all right now, if you're going to the game at Berman Stadium, man, you better get there early. I'm telling you, it's going to be fireworks. And the car looking like they going to repeat again. back to back. Everybody talking about who was going to be at the quarterback position, who replacing Skylar Perry. Then everybody was talking about who was going to replace Alden Clark the year before that. Listen up. They got a guy in the town of Algiers. His name is Leonard Kelly. This kid is big time. I call him little Russell Wilson Jr. He's big time. He's gonna be one of the better quarterbacks in the state. Especially, and he's only 20. He's only a junior. Watch out for this kid tomorrow night, man. This team is loaded once again. They got probably the best running backs, set of running backs in the state with Ahmad Antoine and Ronnie Jackson. They are loaded to bring down. These two kids is gonna just punish people when they running through them holes. So be on the lookout for them, man. You know they got the 4-star DB Devin Bush. A very young defensive line, but them kids getting after it. And this is one of the most, if not the most well-coached team in high school. So
to me, they're the best coach team.
Yeah.
And that's just not head coach. I'm talking about staff.
Yeah.
Staff.
Landry Walker's coming to the game. I mean, they coming off a disappointing loss to Curtis. I want to say the score was 42-8, 48-8, or something like that.
They lost bad.
Yes, but they gonna be in a rebuilding mode this year. They got a lot of talented players on their team, but they still trying to put it together. They lost a lot of people off their coaching staff too that left. And went to Sophie B. Wright and a few other schools. So they got a lot of things going on there trying to, get that thing
and they got a few new head coaches. They got a few new assistant coaches on the team. I got a good friend of mine named Derek Wilkes who's on that staff now. So there's a few guys who just they're
trying to get that thing to
They're trying to get the thing to jump, but it's going to be a big time game.
Yeah, but they still got some talented players, especially on their offense at quarterback. They got Torrey Cargo, who could make all the throws, and then you got that running back at Chad Alexander. Who could take it 80, then they give it time. And then they got the basketball stud. They got it out there playing football for the first time, DeWine Griffin. He's big time. So it's gonna be interesting. I got caught winning the game, but when these two teams meet up, you can throw the records out the door. It could be a flip of the coin. Right. But if Carl play the way they supposed to play, they should win the game. So it's gonna be big time, man. I can't wait for it.
Any other big time games you're gonna have this?
U High plays Southern Lab. I wish I could be in 2 places at one time. That's gonna be star-studded. I'm talking about D1 prospects all over the place. Oh Lord, I mean, I got U-High winning that game. U-High loaded, and so is Southern Lab. So that's gonna be big time, man. I can't wait to see how that game turns out. Like I said, I wish I could be in two
places at one time. Man, what about the Tri-Parish, man? What's up with give people?
Yeah, then we got Lutcher playing St. James too. That's another rival game. St. James and Lutcher. I mean, St. James came out smoking in week 1, beating their rival West St. John 43-0. Nobody expected that. I mean, West St. John just coming off a state championship, and they returned a lot of people. So I was surprised by that, you know. But they play Lutcher this week. That's another big time rival state. So I think St. James is the better team in that matchup. But like I said, you throw the records out the door. You just don't know what's gonna happen. Down in the Tri-Parish, Terrebonne, we know they rocking and rolling right now. They had a tough, grinded out win and some wet, messy conditions last Friday against arch rival Ellender. They ended up winning the game 29-7. I think everybody, it ain't no secret, Terrebonne is the cream of the crop in the Tri-Parish, and then I think you got teams like Tipperary High, Central Lafourche.
Central Lafourche with the big win.
Yeah, and they running back, Deion Jenkins. The kid rushed for 361 yards, 6 touchdowns. They play Carver this week, so you know Carver got it on their mind to try to shut him down. But I think that it's no secret that Terrebonne is the cream of the crop in the Terrebonne in the Tri-Parish area. You know, led by Ja'Kai Douglas, Chaz Ward, T.J. Ruffin, Keyshawn James, and those guys. They gonna be big time. I think that team has a really, really good shot to make a run at 5-8. So it's gonna be interesting, man. They play Lighthouse of the Blind, so it don't even matter.
Well, listen, man. Look, if anybody been tuning me, I'm gonna probably be on Twitter hard tomorrow night. For people who know me, I'm a big boxing fan. I love boxing too. Sean Porter, Danny Garcia fight this weekend, man. Look, Showtime Boxing. Anybody follow me, BigHenry Jones, man. Look, I'm gonna be tweeting hard. I got Sean Porter, losing. He don't really jab very well. Danny Garcia. Sean Porter's a very aggressive boxer. He goes in and he boxes very well, but he doesn't lead with a jab. And Danny Garcia, he's a knuckle puncher. He has a good jab, but he throws his hooks and he throws his body punch like a knuckle puncher. And it affects boxers. So I got Danny Garcia winning fight, but I think this will be a good weekend for boxing, because not this weekend here, but after that, you got the big fight between Canelo and Triple G. So look forward to me. If you follow me on Twitter, man, look, I'm going to be tweeting all fight long, because I'm just as much as I'm passionate about football, I'm passionate about boxing. I'll get down now, watch it with the best of them. So look, y'all tune in, and also again, don't forget to tune in Sunday, 12 p.m., wherever you are, broadcasting that Saints game.
All right.
It's big time, big deal. It's FanView, Real Fans Talk Sports, New Orleans Talk Network. We signing out.
GSportz, man. I'll holler at y'all.
See y'all later. See some of y'all Sunday.
Turn down for what? Turn down for what?
Hi, I'm Sheriff Joe Lapinto, and you are watching the New Orleans Talk Network.
Yo, man, it's Fred. Listen, don't forget to like and subscribe to our New Orleans Talk Network page on. Keep going. What's up, everybody? This is your boy Fred. Listen, don't forget to like our page on YouTube, FanView, Facebook, FanView, and on Twitter, FanView New Orleans.